Interesting. Well, this is. Oh wait, here we go. Wait.
Did you remember click live stream start on the GunTube side?
Wait for it.
Wait. Are we live? We might be live.
Wind up the handle.
Did you go live yet?
Yes, I believe we are live.
Yep.
Yeah,
We're
live.
Look at it.
It's a
Hello, everybody.
It's a damn crapshoot on this channel, man. Are you live? Are you not live? Did you set it up? Did you not set it up? Nobody knows what the fuck is going on around here.
I like it. Now I can pull up the chat and thumb it down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
All right. So, because I'm still not able to schedule a show ahead of time, we're going to give it a couple of minutes here at the beginning. Let some just sort of work in slow, get some people, give people a chance to come into the chat, into the live chat there, because who knows what's going on. Hold on 1 second.
From Honda's chat.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. And we don't have anybody yet, but so we'll just say, "Hey, what's up?" So how you doing, kind of things. And there we go. Ape's over there live. Ape, what's going on, buddy? You're in the top left today. You got number one spot. How the hell did you do that?
Well, probably because somebody remembered to send me a freaking link this week.
I don't know what you're talking about. Well, listen. When remember last week when I said I thought I sent you one and I didn't, like I said, Moo just sent me a text about 10 minutes ago and said he got an email, but it didn't have the link in the email.
Yeah, but he's drunk off his own fermented milk.
That's 100% true. He probably is fish chafed.
And that is probably the best way to send a link to Moo is to send him an email without the link.
And then he texts you. I wrote it down on a piece of paper and shoved it in a milk bottle and threw it in the river. So he'll get it eventually. We'll be good.
Yeah. You'll get it in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Only a little past the expiration date.
So what's going on, George?
Nothing much. Thanks for the invite. I guess it's been a slow week. Not much going on. The only thing that I could say that was exciting was I upgraded my DirecTV receiver, so now everything looks good. Everything looks much sharper and stuff. So that's really good. There were some channels that weren't coming out, but I guess now they are. They did something with the satellite. I think they changed something, tuned it or something, so it's good. It's all good now.
You got that fancy ass TV now.
Oh yeah.
All right. Nighthawk Medic, what's going on, buddy? Good to have you back. What's new and unusual?
Hey, man, not much. I've got a bunch of stuff coming down the pipeline this week based on, so there's this weird continuum happening right now. All the new shooters that went out and bought guns, well, now all of a sudden they're going back and buying a second gun, and that is because they can't find ammo for the first one. So
that's right.
I'm re-engineering to try to help some of those folks out. That's my week.
Well, you bought a gun, couldn't get any ammo. They had money to burn. They're like, well, fuck it. I'll just buy another gun then, right?
Hey, everybody's got 12 gauge this week.
Better go buy one of them.
That's true. When I walked into Sportsman's Warehouse, it was, 2-box limit on ammo except shotgun rounds.
Yep.
Yeah,
of course.
12 gauge.
The only thing they had was 17 HMR and shotgun rounds.
Shotgun.
Yeah.
I bought 2 cases of 12 gauge in different weights and velocities, and I said, time to unpack the shotguns. Let's start the reviews.
Yeah. Start sending some of that shit downrange just to do something, huh? Uh-oh. C4 Defense says Gizzard's new theme song. We'll have to listen to that later. It's guy on a buffalo, but it's just guy on a chicken. Guy on a chicken.
Nice.
Oh. Calaveras, what's going on? So your wife hasn't murdered you yet?
No, that's her still alive and breathing. So it's plus so far.
Damn it.
Well, better luck next time.
She's still young.
How are you guys doing up there? What's up? What's new? Anything going on?
Oh, I thought you were ready to move on to the next person. No, nothing. Nothing new here. Just dealing with some smoke in the air because half the state's still on fire, and got to spend a part of my holiday weekend at least camping after replacing an alternator in my wife's car yesterday. So, yeah, it's been an eventful weekend.
Well, that's funny.
So you replaced the alternator in your car, and she made you camp, and she made you sleep outside?
I volunteered to sleep outside on that particular one.
Uh-huh.
Urbnerxious, what's going on, buddy? What's going on down there in Carolina town?
Not much. It's actually cooled down a little bit. So it hasn't been too bad, but I can't really get out shooting too much because I can't find any freaking ammo. I'm gonna have to go out and buy another gun, which I won't be able to find ammo for.
First world problem.
I've been just kind of like window shopping ammo because I'm curious, you know what I mean, to see, and it's out there. It's just a matter of, do you want to pay $22 for a box of 40 or something? You know what I mean? Or
how do you want it? Do you want it dry, or do you want it with kitty litter in the Vaseline?
Right. Yeah. That sand they throw in the garage on when they do the floors. Yeah.
But I didn't know kitty litter was an option, dude. That's
now is this the kitty litter that has like the extra absorption scent crystals, or is it just like some that they recycled?
Well, it depends. If you're paying 60 cents a round for Tula steel case, then it's got the extra scent absorbing crystals in it.
Anyway, if that's kitty litter, then what is the? I'm guessing the cheaper than dirt $2 for a round of 9mm is just straight sandpaper.
Oh no, that's actually micro knives, tiny little shards of hardened steel.
Nanobot. Little nanobots.
Can we all
Have you ever seen that video with the crab with the knife?
No,
you've never seen the video of a crab with a knife?
The kitchen knife, yeah.
That's what you're getting with the cheaper than dirt ammo. The crab with a knife.
Yeah, crabs use the right lotion.
Yeah.
I thought it was octopi in the knife.
I think Nighthawk was getting ready to say something related to cheaper than dirt.
Let's be honest with each other for a minute. Can we all vow never to use them again? What is this, 4 different times now that they've just gone for the jugular the moment something's gone south?
Well, I can do you one better. I have never bought anything from cheaper than dirt, so.
Me neither.
I'm glad dirty. I have. In the past, I have. I bought bricks of 22 from them for extortionist prices back in the day, but never again.
Yeah, when I first started buying case ammo through the mail, I stumbled across Target Sports, and when I've ordered cases, I've always ordered from them because they ship for free if it's a case, and I've always had good luck with them. So I never bought ammo from Cheaper Than Dirt or anywhere like that. And by the time I thought I was going to need to, I knew I had heard a bunch of their shit that they pulled. So I didn't, you know what I mean? I'm glad I never ordered anything from those assholes.
Well, I used to order from Cheaper Than Dirt, but this was way before they started price gouging. I bought gear like, web belts and magazines, and, backpacks and stuff, but then I'd stopped after a while because I was, buying something else. And then later on, all this price gouging started happening, and I haven't ordered from them since.
Yeah, you just hear some shitty stuff, man. And it's like you hear 1 or 2 different stories and 3 or 4 different stories, and it's like, fuck them. I don't want nothing to do with them.
So were they at least smart enough this time not to cancel orders that were already being processed?
I don't know, man. All I know is they are quick to jump on the price gouging. They're like right there. As soon as something happens, man, it's like, and now everybody knows it. It's funny. So as soon as something happens and prices start going up, you'll start seeing posts on Instagram of people taking screenshots of like stuff that's crazy high, like right off the bat. It's just like that. First day it's you're going from $300 case of 223 to $500 case of 223 like the next day because they can anticipate the They can anticipate the sales going up, and they want to jump on it. So I don't know. It's tough. Guns and Barbecue, what's going on, buddy?
Not a whole lot. Just been chilling out with the kids this weekend. How about yourself?
Oh, the huge. I had a kind of a rough night. I was running a little bit late. We'll get into it then. You doing any cooking for Labor Day?
No. Nobody wanted to get together or anything, and my trigger was giving me issues last time I used it, but so I got to figure out what's going on with that anyways.
Did you remember to take the padlock off the wheels before you moved it?
No. Darn it.
Well, there you go. You wasted yourself a perfectly good master lock.
I did. I think the problem was
Roll call.
that I couldn't see the numbers on the padlock.
Well,
yeah, you know what? That
wait,
would be.
you're suckered into buying the actual numbered padlocks? Why suckers buy those? You get the ones with the keys.
You make ones with keys now? Shit.
Yeah, they're both. Yeah, it's actually a universal key. It's called 2 3/4-inch wrenches.
Yeah, only for about 300 years they've been making them or so.
Yeah.
Man, I watched the lock picking lawyer too much. My brain said that's a 12-second lock.
I watched that too.
Well, it's like
That's
per
pretty
second if you can conceal a RAM set.
Right.
Roll call. What are you all pissed off about now, buddy? I'm just assuming. I saw you did an Instagram live today, but I didn't get a chance to watch it.
It was about the Jumpmaster Flash guy.
Oh, what did he do now? Shit, what did I miss?
He went down to Kentucky, and he said some words that weren't what he, I guess, was supposed to say, because people took it out of context. And I just explained, I just watched the protest in Rochester, New York, and it was pretty good. They marched. They did what they had to do. Not only that, they brought some old people. And when I say old people, these people look like they could fart dirt. And these old people told these young kids what was up and how to do it. And I had explained this before that protest. If these people want something done, burning shit and throwing Molotov cocktails or whatever contraptions that they're putting together nowadays isn't the way to go about change. And it was a pretty eye-opening, awakening. And then you got some jackass on the steps of a place in Kentucky talking about burn the city down. And I think the communities all around should take notice that this guy's a jackass. Don't listen to him. Shut him out and get rid of him. And really take charge of the situations in their community. And that's what I saw tonight. And, there's a problem. And these old people told these kids what to do, how to organize it, and how to try and create change. But then you still had your little bit of, we're not going to comply people, but yet it was eye-opening. And that's what I talked about today in my Instagram. And I'm glad they took this route tonight. Now, am I going to say it's going to end well? Well, that's something to see. But I think everybody should take a lesson and watch out for this Grandmaster J guy. He's on my last nerves, and he's on my shit list.
I think he's on quite a. I think he's
single
on
day.
I think he's on quite a bunch of shit lists because that dude doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Left to Sunday, man. He's throwing all sorts of crazy information out there. I'll tell you what, I never want to see somebody get hurt. Like, even if they, people say they deserved it or whatever, you never, the violence is not going to help anything at this point. I mean, sure, violence does solve some problems. I'll agree with that, but whatever. But that group that he's leading, if anything ever cuts loose, if somebody in that group has a negligent discharge at the wrong time when they're in front of another group that has firearms or something, man, that's going to be a mess. And that's it's kind of scary to think about, because they got a lot of people there in that group, his group, that have little and some with almost no firearms experience. Somebody drops a gun, somebody takes a gun out of a holster and tries to reholster it and rips off a round. Somebody, they've already had some misfire, negligent discharges. They've already had some. If one of them goes off and actually hits somebody in a crowd that's also armed, who knows, man? I mean, it could be a mess, and that's scary.
Well,
I just want to say this real part. Sorry to cut you off, bro. But what was sad about it, as he sat on those steps and said he was going to burn stuff down, he got on a different news camera and tried to say, well, it was figuratively speaking that I said that, and we were going to come back here if there was no justice. And I panned down when I watched that interview to the next video, and this guy's name is the Angry Viking. And he's talking to this older black guy, and they're disagreeing. It gets kind of heated. 5 minutes after that, that guy that they were talking to starts walking down the street saying he's going to burn down the city and start buildings on fire.
Right.
Now, where are they getting these concepts from? You know where they're getting them from? Dumbasses that sit on steps and say they're going to burn a city down, and then try to backtrack that asinine statement to say it was only figurative. I wasn't saying literally. Well, guess what? When you start putting yourself try and put yourself in a power position, whether it's community wise or state or federal wise, and you start saying outlandish shit, and you're not clarifying at that point in time, what do you think these people are going to think? They're going to be like, all right, let's burn it down. Let's go start this building on fire. Jumpmaster Flash told us this is what we got to do. I mean, he's so ignorant. I don't know why news channels keep on giving him airtime other than to continue to stir the pot.
So I think that's it. It's to stir the pot.
Yeah, and that's kind of the argument, the First Amendment argument, right? Like people say, oh, you can't say this and you can't say that. You can say it, but I think people need to understand that there are consequences to words. And yeah, you can stand up there and get people wound up and get people fired up, but there's consequences to that. And do you want to be the one that starts the killings, or do you want to be the one that helps to quell the violence? You know what I mean?
So this guy actually has an important role, and he falls under the category of useful idiot. And so if you need to discredit groups of people, namely the American militia groups that actually have good intentions, now you have somebody to point to whenever you want to attach a label to them without ever having to speak to the real person. And so if you think about a communist takeover, a socialist takeover of America, the military forces would potentially be moving into a militia type force if they resisted against that type of a process. And having this useful idiot to hang in front of the American people saying this is what a militia looks like, then ultimately he will serve that purpose for them.
Yeah. Let's keep it on here. Gizzard, what's going on, buddy?
What's going on, man?
What's the shirt say? What's the shirt say?
I've had this forever. Says I'm not arguing. I'm just explaining why I'm right.
And how did you wrestle that out of Yankees' cold, dead hands?
That came from a specialty store that I frequent. Sometimes it's called, you may have heard of it, Walmart.
Oh,
they sell
Walmart. Say Hot Topic.
No, Hot Topic. Yeah, right. Like I'd go in a mall. Let's be real.
Yeah, right.
No way.
Gizzard's too high class for Hot Topic. He got it at Spencer's Gifts and Gags.
There you
I
go.
like Spencer's. That's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun place, man. I remember being a kid. There was all sorts of crazy shit in there.
Oh, yeah.
That was a great place to go hang out before you went to a movie or something at the mall. Hell yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been a good day. Had my chat this morning. Went out to the range this afternoon, shot some 357 SIG, and
cool.
Great day. Great day.
Very cool.
Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely. G23, how's it hanging, buddy?
Not bad. Thanks for the invite.
Always. What's new and unusual? Anything going on?
Enjoying my 4-day weekend.
4-day weekend? What kind of bullshit is that? Who gets a 4-day week? Oh, you are beside Gary in the chat there, so it's probably rubbing off on you. Gary's right in the middle of his 444-day weekend, I think. He just held up his hand and went 444.
No, they won't give me any time off. I've got 300 hours vacation. They won't let me take any.
Well,
you're the right size to block that hole in the reactor building.
All right.
Get a running start and plug it up.
Yep.
All right. Foss, what's going on, buddy? You with us? I saw you jump in and out a couple times.
Oh, not much. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
No, I had to switch browsers.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
Very
hey,
good.
Foss. That's for, we already have Rich White. That's Eeyore. We don't need a second Eeyore.
I'm sorry.
Oh, bother.
I ain't got no tag.
I'm sorry for being such a downer. But some people are just born this way.
I'm
Hey,
sorry
never-
to fight in your back in your past body.
It'll never work. We're doomed.
All right. So, okay. What do we got first?
I'm doing good, Midnight.
Who?
Okay,
Who's
is that?
talking?
Who is?
It's generic, 2 Live generic.
Oh, okay. Because I called on you earlier and you didn't say anything, and I thought, well, maybe it's one of those weird like ghost accounts where like somebody like when Foss jumped out. Sometimes when somebody jumps out and jumps back in, there's 2 of them. Okay.
Now I'm enjoying my 12-day weekend up here. at
Oh,
my
well,
dad's.
you're a piece of garbage too. Okay, cool.
Dad's cabin. We shot up some steel targets today and shot a bunch of guns and a bunch of tannerite and ate like pigs and drank like fish.
And then when he gets home, once he's good, lubed and colon packed full of pork, he's going to redo his man cave.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
So yeah,
So
that's
we,
You had me at Tannerite.
yeah.
Oh, I mixed 2 half-pounders together and put it on a couple pieces of wood, and it split the wood in 4 pieces. It was awesome.
Nice.
There you
He's
go.
drinking pounders. He's shooting pounders. He's getting poundered, probably.
It is up north, that's for sure. Yep.
All right. So we got Southpaw out there. Ghost is New York Outcast. Rob just showed up. John's Life. C4's out there. You got a link. C4. Grimm's out there. You got a link too. Scott's out there. All right. Very cool. Slow night though. Not a whole lot of people out there tonight. So talking about C4 Defense out there, I watched a video, I think it was Donut Operator, where I think it was last week, they went in to get a guy out of a house, and as soon as they kicked open the bedroom door, the dude was standing there, and he shot the cop in the chest, square in the chest, and he was okay. It didn't go through the vest, and he had an AR, and he just lit the room up. It was crazy.
That was great. He goes around the corner. He's like, "Fucker."
Yeah, he's like, "Fucker." Yeah, but it's funny because I thought of C4 as soon as I watched that video, because when the cop got shot, he fell to the right and he fell into the kitchen. I'm like, you got to stay out of the kitchen. Like, I don't know why these guys keep going into kitchens, man. Everybody knows that. Stay out of the kitchen. You get yourself in trouble.
Listen to Midnight. He's an expert at getting into trouble in kitchens.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I learned that from Yankee, that you can't. Cops should not go into kitchens. What were they doing? What was he doing in the kitchen? I don't know.
Wasn't all you learned from Yankee.
Yeah. Learn how to bitch and cry. So let's see what we got going on here tonight. Got a couple articles. Investigation into Chinese shipments leads to discovery of ghost guns in Massachusetts. AR-15 style rifles. Silencers among items being seized. So they're smuggling ARs back into Massachusetts from other countries now. It's police say Michael Roby of Rentham was possession of homemade firearms. Trooper seized rifles, handgun, numerous high-capacity mags, ammunition, bump stocks, and other parts and homemade explosive devices. It was a shipment from China to Massachusetts. Massachusetts State Police Detective Agency, agents from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security Investigations, the U.S. Postal Service, and Customs and Border Protection discovered in the fall of 2019 items that could be converted into silencers for guns were coming in from China. Silencers are still illegal in some states, including Massachusetts. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so in other words, people were going off Alibaba or Wish.com and getting those fuel filters.
Yeah, that was the fuel filter that kind of sparked it, I think.
Well, and that's one of the things I was going to say is they also made mention, I believe, in this of the Glock, the
airsoft part.
Yeah, the rear plate that can make it go pow 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 real quick, pow 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 real quick, right? And they talked about in another article, there was a gear review, $39 fuel filter from Form 1 silencer build. They spelled fuel filter F-U-L-E, so I'm wondering if that was on purpose too. Yeah, it could be, but $40 from it's just this stuff is really a foreign concept to me. Like I'm just not the kind of dude that's willing to risk it all to have something I'm not supposed to have like that. But
those are 100% legal until you drill that extra hole.
Yeah, but the ATF has this whole thing called constructive intent.
Well, sure, if you want to go by the law.
Well, yeah, because the law is usually what ends up sneaking up behind you and turning you into a sock puppet.
I wouldn't buy one personally.
No, it's a waste of time, and the ones that I do know who have and have legally converted them over into said items, they broke like right away. They're like 20, only good for like 22s.
Yeah, some of the first time I saw the Wish ad come up, I think I actually snapshot it and put it up on Instagram, asking something about if it was the like gee, does this anyone sound like ATF on a sting operation to anybody else?
Yeah. In the article here, it says some of those shipments came to Massachusetts. Both items are legal to possess, but can be transformed into silencers. YouTube videos and blah, blah, blah show you how to do it. As the investigation unfolded, authorities launched an initiative into the items used to make silencers and seized 6,269 silencers, with most of the items used to make silencers coming from China. So,
China.
They seized 6,000 fuel filters or air filters, but
yeah, right.
But once again, it's the whole constructive intent thing.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, you have an AR-15 rifle, and you have a pistol upper, but no lower. Well, I think they've backed off on that since the I forget the actual rulings. Basically, okay, the Thompson Center, the single shot rifles and pistols like the Contenders and the G2s and that.
Mm-hmm.
It was a whole thing of, I don't know, of what kicked it off or what caused the ATF to be at this person's residence of, while they're searching, it's like, oh, you've got the Contender pistol barrel, but you don't have a pistol frame. You have a rifle and a rifle frame. Because in all honesty, the only difference between the rifle frame and the pistol frame is whether or not it has a pistol grip or a pistol grip stock.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I just, I would imagine it is much harder. it would be much harder for them to prove intent nowadays than 10 years ago. Because there's so many people that have AR pistols, and with braces and all that kind of stuff, like just having an upper, like if you have a carbine AR-15 and a pistol upper, I mean, who's to say that you're just like, yeah, I just haven't bought the lower yet. You know, I haven't gotten around to buying the lower. I'm saving up. I don't have the money for it right now. Like, man, it would be so hard nowadays. Now, 10 years ago, maybe, because they weren't as popular. You didn't see as many of them, you know, the ARs, and I'm sure they could give you a hard time about it. But man, it would be tough nowadays.
Yeah, and the whole thing of, it's contrary to popular belief. There's not like roving bands of ATF agents just going, hello, which one?
Well, and I don't think that's ever been the case. It's like 922R, right? Everybody for the longest time on 922R. Right. But I think it actually is quite the opposite. I know people who've been railroaded because there was a way for them to put something together based entirely upon the fact that they had pieces, right? So if you've got a short rifle barrel, or even if you've got a pistol loader to fit on it, but you also have an AR-15 in the same caliber, then the argument can be made both ways, right? So at least to drag you in and harass you about something. So, and that's what happened to this fella, is they looked through all of his weapons and said, this part for this part with this part together equals a short barrel rifle. So we're going to take you in and question you. Right. And so that's also kind of the angle you have to look at. Why haven't they done away with SBR laws? I mean, nobody's building SBRs hardly anymore. We're all building pistols, right?
Because it's simple. All they have to do is go, nope, we're reinterpreting it that these braces, you know, just like originally, and they can just codify it, or El Presidente, whoever is next, just goes, hey, yeah, take care of this. And yeah, no, braces aren't a thing anymore. These are stock. So either destroy them or give us $200.
Well,
it's a money making. Well, not money making. It's another revenue stream for them.
But it also works out, and if we look more towards the totalitarian direction that they've started to take with so many departments, it works out that now everybody has probable cause to be drug in, right? So if you ever bought one of these things, whether I can prove you still have it or not, once I change the law, I immediately make you into a criminal, and I can use that as probable cause.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a little sketchy. I mean, with what happened with bump stocks, I mean, you know, I know they were messing with braces a few months back with whatever happened with that. I can't even remember.
Some like representative or senator was on, like, has like a podcast that's kind of like Coast to Coast AM or something like that, and he said, well, I heard from reliable sources that they're thinking about doing something with braces, and then
that's what I mean. I've never heard anything since. So yeah, it was that's why I was asking, because it was Matt Gaetz was the one that said that. And then we haven't heard anything since, so who knows. Let's see what else we got here. And in an act of heresy, NRA's former number 2 calls for gun control. So Joshua Powell was what was he there? I forget what the hell he was. Chief of staff for the NRA. He was the chief of staff for Wayne LaPierre. In his new book, Mr. Powell calls for universal background checks. Apparently, the NRA's former second in command is breaking with the group's orthodoxy in calling for universal background checks and so-called red flag laws in a new book assailing the organization as more focused on money and internal intrigue than the Second Amendment, while thwarting constructive dialogue on gun violence. The former executive Joshua L. Powell, who was fired by the NRA in January, reinforces the kind of criticism made of the organization by gun control groups and state regulators, but it is their first critical look at its recent history by such a high-ranking insider. So this guy's, I guess, they cut him loose, and he's spilling some beans, man, making a big stink. He describes the NRA's longtime chief executive, Wayne LaPierre, as a woefully inept manager, but also a skilled lobbyist with a deft touch at directing President Trump to order the group's objectives, and who repeatedly reeled in the president's flirtations with the most modest gun control measures. The book, titled Inside the NRA, A Telltale Account of Corruption, Greed, and Paranoia within the most powerful political group in America, is to be published next week. There we go. That's an interesting little tidbit I just saw today.
No, they're not the most powerful.
Not even close.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is another. It sounds like it's going to be, one more stone on the NRA pile. But they got their shit cut out for them over there if they want to try and save that organization, huh?
Well, I don't think they have any intention of trying to save it at this point. I think they're just going to hash out what's left and see who can walk away with the most. If you watched, they did nothing in Virginia, as their headquarters is now under siege. Virginia's gone left so fast that they can't even steer straight again. And now, basically, they've just let LaPierre walk all over everybody there. And everybody's bailing. I mean, everybody who's not a complete FUD, who understands that, there are advocacy is an important branch at this point in our history, has just stopped giving them money completely. And they're got nothing left to hang on to. And the fact that they're hanging on to LaPierre, that's going to shoot them in the neck. That's going to be the fatal blow.
Yeah, I wonder if and when they'll cut him loose and just bite the big bullet, you know what I mean? And be like, all right, here's what you guys want. You want him gone, he's gone. Now can we save it? Yeah.
I don't think that'll happen as long as there is an organization called NRA. He's been at too high of a power for too long. My bet is he probably went full J. Edgar Hoover and has dirt on absolutely everybody. So that way, if anyone messes with him, he can bring everybody down.
Well, I think when they reconstructed the charter, they made it to where without him there is no. I don't know if I can get my acronyms. No NRA. The only way it's going to die is if everybody else leaves, and it's just Wayne sitting there in his office saying, "I'm the NRA."
And factually speaking, I don't think people really understand the impact of the NRA dying. I mean, I don't shoot at a range in my home state that doesn't get its insurance through the NRA. There isn't one of them that doesn't get their insurance through the NRA. Most of us are certified under NRA training programs. I shoot CMP. I mean, those are all NRA programs. Eddie the Eagle education programs and hunter education programs and all those kind of things are NRA funded in a lot of states. And so, I mean, that is a big impact.
Well, all those are done by NRA because they've been around for so long and they've had it. If they go out, that vacuum will be filled by someone at some point. Not to say it won't. It will cause a massive,
short-term disruption.
Yeah, it will cause a massive disruption, but it will eventually get filled.
Dude, if there was any money to be made in it, people would already be competing in it. And so that's why I point that out, is there's really no other significant games out there who want to pick up shooting range insurance and things like that. Maybe you could get a USCCA or one of those organizations to do it long term. But if there was genuinely a way to do that better than the NRA was doing it, don't you think capitalism would have taken over at some point there?
Well, that's where capitalism also involves a evaluation of competition as well. That's where USCCA, may have gone through and run the numbers on it and realize that, especially because they're only, some states don't allow them to operate at all, this or whatever, that, and they'd be competing against such a conglomerate. It would be, I'm trying to find a good.
It'd be like if your local mom and pop donut shop was going up against Walmart.
Yeah, or going up against Krispy Kreme or something. That's where that would be, on the small scale, they might be able to do, a little bit, but on nationwide, it'd be looking at people wouldn't recognize the name, and wouldn't trust it. So, until there's no other options, until the conglomerate option is no longer available, it may not be feasible to take them on right now.
That happens every day, though. The mom and pop donut shop go up against Walmart every single day in America.
Yeah.
Until COVID-19, they were kicking the spit out of Walmart in donut sales. You know what I mean? And that's
in a a localized area. That's where can't remember the name off the top of my head, but that's where donut shop, not far from where I went to college. If they took their name and tried to put their, we've been in business for 25 years, and but this, we're just now opening our first New York location. The New Yorkers aren't going to know who the heck they are. So that's for maybe something similar.
Yeah, but it's a little bit. I will say this. Oops, am I muted? No, I'm not.
No.
I will say it's a little. It's like this though. You say like they wouldn't know who that shop is, but if the NRA falls apart and they can't insure gun clubs and stuff, they're going to have to take who they can take. You know what I mean? They're going to have to go with somebody. It's so just because you've never seen anybody take the GOA's insurance, if the NRA cuts their insurance program and a GOA calls and says, "Hey, we'll insure you," what are they going to say? No, we'd rather just close our doors. No, they're going to say, "Okay, well, that's
right." That's kind of what I'm saying. That's where the GOA, even if they had it, that's where, of course, GOA is big enough that they might be able to do it, but that's where I think there's an organization that, right now I think it's a single location, Sacramento Defensive Pistol, right, is one of our local groups that they do a little bit of local advocacy and this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where they don't bother with insurance because no one would trust them because heck, even go to Lodi, probably no one's ever heard of them. That's only an hour away. But that's where if all of a sudden they're the only game in town,
right? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like the more and more the NRA is getting beat up, the less of a chance they're going to be around to do the things that they're doing. Yeah, I don't want them to go away, but I mean, if they do, somebody's got to come up and take a hold of that.
Well, and how many organizations die waiting for that to happen? And again, like I said, there is no healthy economy around this anywhere that I'm aware of in the country. And I've actually mentioned this on 6 different podcasts now, and nobody's come up with an answer other than the miracle of birth will occur, and somehow suddenly there will blossom from it an opportunity that somebody will take a hold of, and it will go forth before shooting ranges across the nation are closed for potential liability issues. And that's a magical solution that doesn't exist in reality. The reality of it is, if the NRA doesn't get their crap together, or we don't figure out some kind of way to help them get their crap together, ultimately, we may see a very large-scale accomplishment of what the left has been trying to do, which is to restrict our abilities.
Yeah, it's a very scary thing going on, because what happens if one day something happens and they say we can no longer fulfill these insurance claims or whatever. These businesses that want insurance. I wonder how much insurance is for a place like that, for a gun range. I'm sure it depends on what facilities they have and how many members and stuff like that. But
my club pays $15,000 a year insurance.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure it varies simply by state as well.
That's where
Gary.
Arizona probably had, being a little bit more friendly and little, from what my understanding is, a little less sue happy. Might be a little bit less on liability than say California.
Mm-hmm. I mean, in the large scheme of things, too, I would imagine that there's not a whole lot of claims that go through. I mean, you just don't really hear about many people getting hurt at gun ranges. You hear, I mean, I know in restaurants, there's a lot of accidents in restaurants with customers and with employees. You get people that are drinking and driving afterwards. There's all sorts of shit. There's fights. There's all sorts of crazy shit that happens. But, in my opinion, like in my experience, you don't really see a whole lot of I wouldn't think you'd have a ton of claims. So I would imagine that insuring gun ranges is probably a pretty good deal. I would imagine that's good business.
That's where your restaurant there, Midnight, that's where if you guys had a claim like that, would you guys want to advertise it even if you legally could? Because that's right, a lot of times those, insurance payouts and whatnot are sealed and you're not allowed to talk about them.
Well, I mean, I don't know. We've never had anything. I've never had the experience of like anything like that other than like, slip and falls and stuff like that. But, I would say, I know, other restaurants have, with, people leaving and it is, I mean, it's bad business, man. There was a place, in PA here that, the security guy, the bouncer, whatever you want to call him, helped somebody to their car. They were wasted and they're just like, they helped them to their car because they thought they would just sort of sleep in their car or something. They put the keys in and they took off and then somebody ended up dead. You know what I mean? Like that was a mess. I don't remember how it ended up, but now you've got employees literally helping people to their car. Holy shit, what a mess that is, Doesn't get much worse than that. You guys are talking about, how can we support the NRA? I don't know. Like that's why it's interesting to talk about for me, because I really don't know what to think. Other than I don't want the organization to go, but maybe it should. Maybe it deserves to close down, and hopefully somebody will pick up the slack.
Well, if it's true that the board has no power and it's all the power is with
Wayne and his chosen food,
then the board cannot change it, and changing the board doesn't help because the board has no power. What do you do?
Right.
And even the president doesn't have power. You had Pete Brownell for a couple of years. Nothing happened. You had Oliver North for like 2 months or something. Nothing happened.
Yeah, not long.
No, it's all tied up with Wayne and his chosen cronies.
I don't think people are reading the bylaws enough. I'm sure that if you got a good lawyer on that, somebody could dig something out that could shut that down pretty quick. I would find it shocking that an organization that has in the past been so well litigiously organized as the NRA truly wrote themselves into a corner that could not be fought out of.
No, they didn't write themselves into a corner. The people in power who wanted to stay in power wrote it to where, hey, we get to stay in power. We have the final say on everything.
I have not. I'll say I have not read the bylaws. I don't have anything to do with the NRA. I'm just kind of going by what other people have told me who are involved with the NRA.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know. It's just, I hate to see it in the news, and I think it's any kind of turmoil with an organization like that is a win for the other side, and that's what bothers me so damn much. It's the infighting with them, and you get somebody running the organization or the president or whatever, LaPierre is, whatever you want to call him. And you get so many people saying, get him out of there, and he ain't budging. I mean, that's foreign to me. I mean, that's weird to see to me. I think, you get enough people that are saying we want new management. I mean, he's not the owner of the organization. It's not like he owns the business. Where you own the business, it's my way or the highway. Other than the owner, anybody else, man, it's like you get enough people saying they want him gone. If you're the general manager of a huge corporation and you get enough other employees saying this guy's a piece of garbage, this guy's a piece of garbage, eventually eventually it's going to work, and with this, it's just, I want to see, I'm interested to see if it does. Kids talking about the Board of Elections, not being transparent, not being able to see what the votes actually were, basically. So, I don't know. Anybody else have anything to say about it?
I got one thing to say. Is actually talking back about incidents and ranges.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years ago, I guess it's almost 5 years ago. I can't remember the range that I usually go to. I wasn't there, but a friend of mine was, and he was teaching I think he was teaching a license to carry class, and there were some guys that were shooting and stuff. And sometimes at the time, how some ranges will, like when somebody fires, like they stop firing and they want to go to the range, right? They'll usually say cease fire, or there'll be a switch that turns on these lights, lets you know a warning that lets you know you're going to go down range. Mm-hmm. Well, sometimes at this time, I think the range didn't have that, and they didn't have like the use of chamber flags and stuff like that. That all these little doodads, for safety and stuff. Well, sometimes there's always a guy that goes down range and he's going to change his target and stuff. And sometimes other people are looking around. Well, I don't see anybody, and they start firing and shit. Well. Mm-hmm. I heard, since I wasn't there, I had heard that this guy had started firing and accidentally shot a guy behind the lines and stuff. It actually shot him in the shoulder. And since the guy that I knew, a friend of mine, he was teaching the license to carry class. He was also a certified EMT, and he teaches like first responder classes, which I took from him, and some other classes like tactical medic. He responded. He saw what happened to the guy, and he started like helping him out and stuff. And they called like, the air chopper, to come by and stuff. Cause man, the range is way out. I mean, from where I live, it's like heading down towards Boca Chica Beach, and it's kind of almost going close to the border of Mexico. And that was far away. I mean, it's got to be at least 11 to 18 miles somewhere out there. And so the owner was like freaking out and stuff, he was like almost having a heart attack and stuff. And my friend there is trying to help the guy out, stop bleeding and stuff like that. And they got him out, they were able to take him out for medical, but after that, things were changing. I mean, it was like the range had changed. Like the following time that I went there, you had all these safety things, in the line, like I said, you had the lights that turn on when you're going to go down range, because before it was like cease fire. Okay. I'm going to go check my target. I'm going to go change the target or something. And somebody would be like, okay, and then you're out there looking around if nobody else is, behind the lines, and then, okay, start shooting. So a lot of things change. I mean, I tell you, protocols, on what to do when, like when people stop firing and stuff like that, or when they start firing. I mean, it's just like totally different. I mean, I know it's probably different in other ranges, which they probably already had those type of safety protocols. But like in this range, I mean, it wasn't like it was laid back, like, oh yeah, you go ahead and shoot and stuff. There was like some people that are range masters around that they'll go around and stuff. But after that incident, man, it was like totally changed. I mean, it just like everything, make sure you got change your chamber flag on your rifle or your pistol there if you're not being used, or put something, as a substitute, and be sure you use the lighting, so you can warning light, so that way when you go down range, you make sure that no one's, start firing and stuff. I mean, it changes drastically. I mean,
well, I mean, there's a lot of range. There's like the range. The club. I'm not a member right now. I wasn't able to rejoin, but this year. But the club that I normally shoot at, we don't have range officers there. And it's just like you say. I mean, it's very much honor system with everything, and if you need to change a target, you call it out. Everybody puts the guns down, that kind of thing. But it's a situation just like that where everybody's kind of you're trusting everybody to be good. You know what I mean? Now it's the same thing in the indoor range. There's an indoor pistol range there, and after you're done shooting, a lot of times guys will take the brush out and they'll sweep up the brass if they want to keep it or whatnot. And it's the same thing. You're walking around the front, and you got to call ceasefire and make sure everybody's paying attention. But there's no lights, there's no whatever, and there's no supervision by any staff. And the indoor range in the building you can get into 24/7, which is awesome. Like it's awesome to be able to do that. You have a key card and you just swipe yourself in. I mean, there's times that I go, well, that's why my name is Midnight Range, because I cook late at night, so I'm cooking late at night. It's like midnight, I'm cooking on a range, but also because I used to go in and shoot after work. It'd be like 1 o'clock in the morning and I'd be shooting indoors at the range by myself at like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. But, that's the kind of thing where, if you're by yourself, it's great. But you get some people in there at 1 o'clock in the morning or something, and you don't have any supervision, and some and it does take a there's not a whole lot of young shooters there, and I think it's because the old timers kind of are. They stay on them. If somebody does something weird, if somebody's handling the gun behind the line, if somebody does something, the other members there, they get on them. And I think it keeps the membership a little bit older, which probably isn't necessarily great for their dues, because, but at the same time, like if that's how the place you're going to run, you're going to need the members to police their own. And that's what you got,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I got one story. It's hilarious that one time I was with my security company out there in the range training, and we were just training some practice drills and some training tactics and stuff. And usually the range is open from the morning, so anywhere between 9 to like about when it starts getting dark. So usually about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Well, the owner, he takes off. He says as soon as it gets dark, he doesn't like being there because his range is right not too far from the border. He locks everything up and he usually takes off. He closes the range. But since he knows my boss, since my boss is law enforcement, so he would say, okay, you guys go ahead and just, finish up your drills or whatever you're shooting, and then you guys can just go ahead and take off. I said, okay. He locks everything up. It's an outdoor range. Well, one time we're shooting and we were practicing, how to use the pistol with a flashlight. And we also were doing shotgun and AR. And all of a sudden, we see these two vehicles show up in the drive. I mean, they were driving right into the front of the range. And we went to go check out who they were. It ended up being a state trooper and a border patrol.
Oh, shit.
And they were like, what are you guys doing here? And he goes, oh, we're training. The Massey let us go ahead and train. He took off about an hour ago. Oh yeah, he passed through the border patrol checkpoint, and because we have a checkpoint there on Boca Chica, which leads straight towards to Boca Chica Beach. So his range is about I want to say 8 miles from that checkpoint. So it's not too far. But somehow they were driving around and somebody started gunfire. So these guys come by and checks us out, and we're like, no, it's cool, man. We're here. We're about finishing up already, and it was already getting late. So And these guys are freaking out. They're like, "Oh my God, there's gunfire over here. What the hell's going on?" The owner just passed, went home, about an hour or so ago. What the heck's going on? And he goes, "No, we're here. We're here training and stuff like that. We work for security companies." Oh, okay. Okay. They just kind of took it as, so my boss was law enforcement. So he was like, okay, at the time he was working with the local police department. And now he's semi-retired. He keeps his license up to date with working as a reserve constable for the precinct 2. So at that time, he said he was a police officer. So he was like, "Yeah, I'm with Brownsville PD and stuff like that. I'm just with my security guys here training and stuff." And so, oh, okay, Luckily, it was just like they were not like guns drawn out or anything. Luckily it was kind of cool. Laid back. So it was just hilarious. And like after that, we just, okay, guys, time to go. Just pack up and we left. And it's just a story to tell Mr. Massey. The next time we were there.
Yeah.
So Pickle, whenever the state troopers showed up, it's over.
Yeah.
The no fun. Like, let's go.
The no fun.
He says it's over.
Squad. Yeah, the no fun squad is here. Pickle, what the hell's going on out there with magazines? What's the newest word?
They banned them. All of California is now illiterate.
I'm a couple days out of date, so I can't give you 100% latest. But that's where 3-judge panel of the Ninth Circuit ruled it was unconstitutional for magazine restrictions, and the Attorney General requested an en banc, and I have not yet heard whether if he's going to get it because it's not mandatory. I would guess he probably will, but I don't know for sure. So that's kind of the last I know from there. But it is interesting that I heard that the Third Circuit, recently ruled that a magazine ban is constitutional. So it's going to really be put that much more pressure on the Ninth, because if they uphold, the 3-judge, now they're going to have 2 circuit courts that contradict each other.
Right.
But if they reverse themselves, then they'll have 2 circuits that agree. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens.
So what happens if they disagree? Does it go to the Supreme Court then?
That's where, generally speaking, it's the Supreme Court historically has liked taking up cases that are where you have 2 or more district courts disagree with each other.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, this court has not exactly shown a great deal of enthusiasm for taking up firearms related cases. So it's really hard to say what they would do.
Yeah, because I had an article pulled up that was about it, but it basically said what you said. That it's sort of still up in the air, and I just didn't know if you being out there, if you had heard anything or knew anything else.
Yeah, I've been out of cell phone reception since about 10 a.m. yesterday morning. So
yeah. I'm just scanning to see if there's anything else that might. Talk about Heller. Yeah, I don't know.
I would be highly, highly surprised if they don't grant an en banc, and it would also be surprising to me if because it's an 11-judge panel. For that one, it would really surprise me if the 11-judge panel agrees with the 3-judge.
19-year-old learns gunfight lesson from 74-year-old the hard way. A Graves County man, this is Graves County, Kentucky, talking about Kentucky again. A Graves County man was shot early this morning after reportedly kicking in a door of a residence and gaining entry. The event began at 3 a.m. when the homeowner of the residence called 911 to report that a man wearing a mask forced his way in his home while armed with a shotgun. The home is located on Kentucky Highway 1710, just south of 58 East. The homeowner met the suspect, and the suspect reportedly fled from the area after getting into a small-sized vehicle. Deputies responded to the area, were able to obtain some evidence. Then again, at approximately 4:45 a.m., the 74-year-old resident and homeowner called 911 again, reporting that a man had kicked in his door again, armed with a shotgun. The caller advised that he had shot the intruder with a shotgun after he entered his home, and that the intruder had fled on foot. Minutes later, as law enforcement was arriving in the area, Mayfield police had located 19-year-old James Page II just down the road from the residence with a severe shotgun wound to his arm in or near the roadway. Sheriff's deputies also recovered a shotgun that had been in the suspect's possession. So he knocked twice and got blasted on the second time. Dang.
My question, though, is they collected evidence, but was it valuable evidence?
Valuable evidence.
Put it in the car?
They did put it. I bet you they put it in the car. Well, maybe they put it in the SUV. Put the evidence in the SUV.
Well, that just doesn't have the same flow to it as put the evidence in the car.
That's true.
Like hobo with a shotgun.
Homeowner with a shotgun. So there you go. Little defend my house there. Maybe Budget will talk about that on his show. He got blastified. It is to be hoped the injury will persuade young James Page III that invading homes and crime in general are poor career choices. Yes. Mm-hmm. Shotguns will do that. They will change your mind.
Yes, because they are so good at relocating parts of your anatomy at high velocity.
That's true. They have shotguns. Historically probably have been one of the best instant mind changers that you could shoulder.
Yeah. Yep. That boy probably had to pick up
shotgun click and. You hear that shotgun click, and man, you know what's going on.
Nah.
There you go.
Nah. Not.
Ithaca 37. Never leave home without it.
National riot response.
You're right. That's how you had to stick up your ass. Didn't realize it was an Ithaca.
There you go.
How do you
National riot response? Kenosha area gun sales skyrocket. Go figure.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be a son of a bitch.
I bet it's AR-15s.
If they haven't already sold out.
GPMS oracles with sight marks, red dots.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a proof of concept.
Guns and ammo stores in the area are seeing a huge surge in folks trying to buy firearms, with many customers coming from neighborhoods smack in the middle of the unrest. Joseph LaJoy, owner of LaJoy Precision Incorporated in nearby Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin, tells TMZ he completely sold out of every handgun, shotgun, and all ammunition after fielding at least 100 phone calls a day in the wake in the wake of Blake's shooting. LaJoy says the majority of sales were from people who did not previously own guns or ammo, and they are looking to protect themselves in their homes. Then, after the Kyle Rittenhouse shooting,
and you know what?
Go ahead.
Up in Wisconsin, they can actually get them. Down there in Antioch, where he's from, they can't.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Meanwhile,
was that proof of bicep?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Too soon.
Yeah. I was listening to something the other day. I was listening to somebody online read an article, and in that article they actually used the term vaporized his bicep, and I was like, holy shit, what a term to use. Like, ugh. I was like, wow.
I mean, not really. It took a chunk out of it.
I think, vaporized, tenderized. I mean, there's a few different adjectives you could use for that one. And they all paint a nice mental picture.
Well, they showed it. It was pink mist for sure.
Oh yeah, I saw the pictures.
It was part that it actually contacted and came into, but he still has a bicep. It just now looks like somebody took a hole saw and just went right off the top of it.
Yeah. It says, meanwhile, in Red Dot Lake Villa, Illinois, the gun store manager tells us they sold nearly 100 firearms in a single day, and they're getting close to selling out completely. We're told folks were frantic coming into Red Dot. It's anywhere there's anything going on, man.
Man, that's where I was, I saw an article, I can't remember where it was from, saying that August was like the 7th month in a row of, that setting out records for firearms and ammunition sales.
Yeah.
So basically, since February, it's been, every month has been setting a new record. It's like, holy hell, there's been a lot of movement on firearms, ammunition, and reloading supplies.
Well, and that's what, when I went to the range, that indoor range a while back, I had never shot at it, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to go in there and shoot a little bit, just check the place out. They do rentals, and it's the only place around me that does rentals very close. And I went in, and I was like, hey, how do you know, can you look online and see what you guys have in stock to rent? And they're like, oh, no, it changes all the time. We don't really update it, which I think they should. I mean, as easy as it is to do social media stuff nowadays, you'd think they would do that. I mean, if I owned the place, I would put that out every day, or when it changes, like, hey, this is our updated list, because it might bring people in, but whatever. And I was like, oh, that's okay. Well, and he's like, yeah, and we've got a bunch of different stuff now because we sold all of our demos. And I was like, oh wow, I didn't know you guys sold demos. That's kind of neat. We might be able to pick up something, cheap. He's like, oh, we normally don't. He's like, we're out of guns, and people started offering us money for our demos, so we sold our demos. I was like, oh shit. He's like, yeah, people are just want whatever they can get a hold of. So
my favorite gun shop in my town does something cool. You can actually give them a gun and they'll put it in their demo case, and you get paid if people rent and use your gun. It's $20 every time they rent it, but
right.
That's kind of cool if you've got a bunch of crap sitting in your case that you're not going to fire a lot.
Yeah.
I've taken some review firearms and actually done that, and then ended up doing private sales out of that.
There you go, Midnight. The Geminis lives.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Go take your Geminis or your Brico 380, hand it to them, and there you go. You got $20 out of it, more than what you paid for the gun, even if it breaks right away.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny if you go to the range.
I was going to ask about that, Midnight. That's where about the rentals. That's where, because I know, like my local range that has the rentals, they have some other stuff listed on their website, but that's where they're always there. Those weren't for sale. But I guess in theory nowadays, if they didn't have anything else on the shelf and someone else really wanted one, I mean, I did rent. I've rented a couple guns from there. That's where. And I can tell you that's for, best example I had was a 9mm shield. I was, it ran fine, but that's for, just working the action and the trigger on. It's like, holy hell, this thing's probably got 5,000 or 6,000 rounds through it. And it's the first generation of model. It's not even an old model. So it's going to be well broken in.
Yeah, that's what I was saying to the guys. I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know you sold it. He's like, we normally don't, man. They're shot to shit. But people were just coming in and, they were selling, and, they have most of their stuff is, I shouldn't say most of it is carry guns. But, I guess it's, a large majority of it is carry guns. They have a bunch of shields in there and, small Glocks and stuff like that, the LC, the Rugers, smaller Rugers. And he's like, we just had people coming in being like, we'll sell it to me. What do you want for it? And they were like, oh, fuck it. Okay, go ahead. Because they can
we'll market $100 off of brand new.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, you sell it and you make $400 off of that gun now real quick instead of making $20, renting it to so many people. It's like, I guess, what the hell, why not? So give people what they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be kind of funny if you go to the range now. It's like, hey, do you have any rentals? You go, sure. Okay, what do you got? We got all these high points.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody wants those.
I got 2 Ravens. I got a high point,
a Brico, minis,
and I got a break open shotgun that does. And I got a break open shotgun that doesn't have any name on it. We don't know what it is.
Doesn't have any name and doesn't have an ejector or an extractor.
Yeah.
I go, sir, this is a paintball gun, not a firearm.
Anything's a firearm if you're brave enough.
Yeah, we got a flare gun.
Right.
Not to stir off topic, but I was cruising the internet yesterday, and Bicep Boy is actually out of the hospital, and he gave a speech. He gave a speech, and he said he's vowing to continue to do what he's doing for the cause.
You know what's most astounding about that?
He's not in jail.
Yes, the fact that man is not in jail is indisputable proof that there are forces that want this to happen. Period. End of story.
Yeah, that's for someone that's a felon, and with photo evidence, witnesses, and everything else of him, holding a pistol and having declared his only his only regret was not having pulled the trigger faster on the kid. I mean, that to me, that's one that's felon in possession of a firearm. That's illegal, but that's for it sounds like attempted murder, or at least intent. That to me sounds like he had a few things against him that he should have gone down for.
Yeah, he said he wanted to unload all of his mags into that dude's body.
Oh, dude, had one of us done that, our new boyfriend's name would be Bubba.
Bubbalicious?
Some of us already have a boyfriend named Bubba. Mm-hmm. He's on vacation. Right?
Hey, now, what happens to Moo on the top of that mountain stays on Instagram and Pornhub.
Mm-hmm. 2 live moves.
Hey, boy, you got some pretty udders.
Both of them.
Oh, sorry, Ghost. So Matt actually mentioned this on his show, one of his shows towards the end of last week. I didn't talk about it just because it's just a shitty story. But they actually had a rally, like a march for this kid the other day that I saw. And I figured I'd talk about it. Teen allegedly chased, shot by sex offender, left note behind. And this was the new part that came out after Matt had talked about it. He said, left note behind. If you're reading this, I'm dead. So his name was Cayenne King with a K, Cayenne, Kyan. And he was 16 years old. And so it says chilling new details have emerged in the alleged slaying. Alleged. How fucking what do you have to do to get the word alleged to be taken out of like articles? They will lie, cheat, and steal, but they still have to throw that word alleged in there, alleged slaying of a 16-year-old Pennsylvania boy who ran naked for his life through the streets of Harrisburg from a registered sex offender who ultimately killed him. A police criminal complaint, an affidavit. Sorry. On Saturday, Orlando Duarte, 46 of Harrisburg, was arrested and charged with criminal homicide and possession of a firearm prohibited after allegedly shooting and killing a boy identified by his family as Cayenne King, 16. According to the criminal complaint and affidavit of probable cause, several witnesses and residents of North 18th and Forster Streets told police they saw King, who was identified as KK, in the affidavit running naked through the neighborhood as he fled a man described as bald, wearing an orange shirt, and brandishing a rusty revolver. No, I'm not going to make a joke about that he had an orange shirt.
What the hell, you son of...
I'm not even going to say it.
He can't run.
That's
He
true.
can roll. He
That's true.
can maybe power walk if he's motivated.
If it would have said a man described as bald, wearing an orange shirt, brandishing a rusty revolver, and driving in a golf cart, I'd be like, oh.
Golf cart.
Take that rusty revolver shit back.
Yeah, right.
Golf cart, please. We all know he's got that fancy little rascal with the little raccoon tail on the handlebar.
One witness said she was sitting on her porch when she saw King come from a nearby alley naked. The witness said she approached King and asked how old he was. He replied that he was 16 and that he had been raped, and the male was now chasing him with a gun. The witness was about to get a towel to cover up King when she said she saw Duarte running toward them with a gun in his hand. As soon as Duarte saw the boy, he began shooting in their direction. The affidavit said the boy took off with Duarte after them. Second witness told police she was walking to her sister's house when she heard a loud help. She said she didn't know where the yelling was coming from, but could tell the person was in trouble. She heard a gunshot and saw King lying face up in the ground. He cried, "Help" again, but this one was fainter. As King lay defenseless on the ground, the witnesses said Duarte stood over him and shot him twice in the upper body. Said they did not know whether they knew each other beforehand. As a detective later tried unsuccessfully to interview Duarte, but he stated he stated that all he wanted to say was that he thought he was 18 years old. That's all he would say. That's all he would say. The police went to Duarte's home and found a shell casing on the table next to a bed and two letters on the bed, according to the affidavit. Written in pink ink in both letters was the disturbing message: "If it's KK. If you're reading this, I am dead." The letter goes on to say how much he loved everyone. He's in Dauphin County Jail right now. Then this is crazy. According to the affidavit, Duarte was on state parole and had an ankle monitor at the time of his arrest. He is a lifetime registered sex offender. In 2012, he was sentenced to 4 to 8 years in prison and 10 years of probation after being convicted of charges including involuntary, deviant sexual intercourse with a child and indecent assault of a person less than 13. So this fucking dude was just, I just don't understand how this dude was. Why are people like this out? Why are they walking amongst us? How many times does somebody have to rape a kid before they're put away forever where they can't do it again?
They're normalizing it in society currently. Half of Hollywood is full of child rapists, and California is making laws to begin to quote unquote equalize child rape for people of different sexual orientations. So, the society is trying to normalize it. Netflix has released a whole series, or was releasing a whole series, about 12 and 13-year-old girls dancing in skimpy outfits. It's disgusting.
Yeah, that's where it's not as affordable as it used to be, but I'm still a firm believer that a 9mm to the dome, cures pedophilia.
Yeah, there is such a huge push to push children into adulthood as fast as possible. And it's just so disturbing, and it's really sad. And it just doesn't make any sense. It's just, kids don't need to be forced to be adults, to be older, to look a certain way, to do a certain thing, to act a certain way. Kids are kids, man. Let him be. And it's just sad. It really bums you out, But it does go to show you too. At 16 years old, this kid was 16 years old. He wasn't from like a bad home. He wasn't, he wasn't from the best side of town. He wasn't, from money or anything, but he was a good kid. He was well liked. He didn't get in trouble. And, I'm sure his parents thought he was fine, but, going out and doing whatever he was doing. But, I've said this before in the show, keep an eye on your kids, man. Like, know where they're at, know what they're doing. I know, a lot of parents by the age of your kid 16, he's like, your kid says, "Hey, I'm going out," and they just leave, and you think, he's good. He's going with his friends or whatever. But, to know where your kids are at and know what they're doing and know who they're with, so important. Because when something doesn't feel right, at least you have somewhere to first check, And yeah, Calavera says, sounds like the son of a bitch needs to be hunted down and put down like a dog. It probably should have been done 2 times ago, two molestations ago. I'm sure.
What's odd to me is like somebody running naked in your neighborhood, and you're like, "How old are you?" Like, who said?
Yeah.
Hey, how old are you, pal?
Yeah,
like,
it's a little.
What the fuck?
I know, I mean,
my guess on that, it would have to be probably came from almost like surprise or shock, because having someone running through the neighborhood completely unclothed would not be a normal occurrence in most places. So most people would be taken aback by it first, take them a minute to process.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it was in this story. I can't remember if I even read it or not, but I know one of the articles I read, the woman that he first came in contact with had gone to get him a towel or something, I think it said, and to get him a towel or something. And that's when I guess the guy caught up with him. So, I mean, it's a shame that she didn't just automatically grab him and take him inside or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how it went. I'm not saying she didn't take care of the kid or didn't, do what she could, but it sounds like maybe she made a decision to go grab something from the house. And, if she wouldn't have done that, maybe it would have went differently. And that's tough too. I mean, you think about that woman, if that's how it went, boy, you got to live with that your whole life, that kid ran up to you and you didn't make the right move. You know what I mean? Or you didn't do, you didn't make the right call. And then that all happened, but holy shit. John, I don't. This is extreme. Yeah. All right. What if the person, Southpaw says, what if the person KK ran to had been armed? Could be a very different ending. Be ready and carry every day. And that's 100% true. I mean, he ran up to a lady that, had he run up to, one of our wives or something, I'm sure that gun would have been out. And who knows? I mean, should you, I know people have different opinions on whether, they'll put their lives in line to save somebody else's or not. But I mean, something like that, something that happens, I'll put my life on the line for a kid, I wouldn't be afraid to get in between that a kid and somebody like that. I mean, what are you going to do, man? Even a high point is far better than nothing, for sure, man. If it goes bang, man, nothing wrong with that. And that's just a shitty story, but I think it does. One of the things that, like I said, I got from it was 16 years old. Like he wasn't a little kid. He wasn't 8 years old. and got snatched up. He's a little bit older, so keep an eye on your kids, man.
Definitely, man. You got to really keep an eye on these kids these days.
Yeah, I mean, I told a story. I had my son at the park last summer now. I mean, and I told this story. I had, family was having a picnic and they had a little one running around on the playground. Boy, this little guy was probably 3. My son was 5, just about to turn 5. And this little dude, he was little. He was like 3 or 4. And he was just running around all by himself, man. And I was kind of keeping an eye on him. And I picked him up a couple times and dusted him off when he fell and tied his shoes for him. And once or twice he came up to me and held his little foot out and his shoe was untied. And I tied his shoe for him. And just sort of kept an eye on him, because this family, they were having like a picnic or something up in the pavilion and nobody was with them. And holy shit, man, like it, it went through my head, after about 5 minutes, I was like, man, nobody is watching this goddamn kid. Like, they don't know me. They know I'm there with my son, or probably my son, but they don't know me. They don't know if I'm a good dude or not. Like, who the hell knows? And it's just like a light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, man, like, how could you live with yourself if something happened to your kid and you weren't watching them? And you were just not paying attention. You know what I mean? And not because, you go, you turn your back for a second and something bad happens. But like the situation I was in, I was like, that kid was, it was a half an hour or something or more. I was sort of helping. I was kind of playing with that kid, helping him, pushing him on the swing set and stuff with my son. And it's like, holy shit, man, that's crazy. Watch your goddamn kids, dude. Carolina EDC said, somebody say High Point, best affordable and reliable firearms in the world. There you go.
No, that would be that little Altor single shot.
I don't know. Was it the best? Somebody was saying in a chat the other day they had they saw one of those.
Well, something to shoot and hit yourself in the head with at the same time.
That's true. Somebody was saying they saw one of those at a shop and it was like $170 or something. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I did it, but it was only like 120.
I bought a BB6 for $242, and it is still one of the best under $300 firearms I've ever handled in my life.
Yeah, the new carbines are really nice. They're pretty cool. They're not as big and chunky as the other ones.
BB Tech's BB6.
BB-8?
Nope.
BB. C4 says, how many of them do you get for 170? Just the one.
Just the one. I mean, if you get more than one at a time, you got to fill out that extra little sheet signing for the BATF saying that you bought more than one pistol at a time.
Yeah.
For 100, I mean, for like the extra $20 or so that you'd save on buying them two at once, it's not worth the time of having to go through all extra hassle.
What is involved with that? I didn't realize you had to fill out. I thought you could put multiple firearms on a 4473. I didn't know that there was a stipulation with that.
It's called a Clio, and every time you buy 2 pistols at a time, it automatically generates it. And depending on how your state does it, like here in Indiana, I am legally obligated to throw your paperwork in an envelope and send it to the state police, and then send emails to the ATF. That form contains what kind of gun it was, what brand, make, and model, your serial number, and all that jazz. So they basically know what pistols you have. So be aware of that. And
so, in other words, buy one on Monday, come back on Tuesday, and buy the other?
Nope, it'll still generate that. It'll still generate that paperwork. I think it's
72 hours.
I think it's 10 days. But if you go to a different shop and buy one, it won't generate that because each FFL runs separately from each other. So to avoid that, you can buy a pistol at one place and then go to another place and buy another pistol, and it won't generate that. But if you buy the handgun at the same place, Yeah, it's going to generate that, and they have to send that to the ATF. It's like, and if you don't, you're probably going to get dinged with a fine, and they're going to probably audit the FFL.
Yeah,
So it's
business.
and it's really weird because they don't, like, you could buy a pistol and 3 rifles, and it won't generate that paperwork, but it only does it with pistols. So go figure.
Well, what if you? What if it's a? Do you have to do that if it's a handgun and an AR lower or something like that? Because you can turn an AR lower into a pistol.
No, it doesn't generate on lowers because it's a multi-caliber.
Right.
It's on. So you know what I'm saying. Pistols are considered pistols, but not in that form. It's considered an other. You know what I'm saying? It's not defined as a pistol on a 4473.
Yeah, because it's pistol, long gun, or other.
Yeah, so it won't generate that form.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
you gotta really watch that stuff. And some people are like, oh, I don't care. I'm like, well, if something would ever happen and go get the 4473s, they would have that paperwork and they could prepare for what you have. So it's always be mindful. Be mindful of what you're doing out there in the free land of the USA. Just be mindful of it.
Wow, I'd hate to see what they'd need to do to prepare for the fact that I bought a Ruger Mark II 22 and a 38 at the same day. Oh no! Good thing I don't have a dog.
That's fudge shit, man. That didn't even clear anybody's desk.
Hey, you call it fudge shit. It was a nice little engraved stainless 38.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Assaulting police more acceptable to Virginia senators.
Well, can we pepper them at least?
Yeah, this is
for assaulting them.
It's just it's such a push for lawlessness right now. It's unbelievable. A new Virginia proposal is closer to receiving the governor's signature and making it loud and clear. Assaulting an officer, a law enforcement officer, is now more acceptable to legislators in the Commonwealth. The bill, which downgrades the penalty for assaulting a police officer, in some cases from a felony to a misdemeanor, passed the Democratic-controlled state Senate by a vote of 25 to 15 and is supported by Democratic Governor Ralph I Suck at My Job Northam.
You mean blackface?
Yeah, whatever. This new proposal is the latest development in the Commonwealth where the legislature is also considering defund the police proposals in addition to passing stringent gun control measures on Virginians earlier this year. Good fucking luck, Virginia. God damn. What a mess. Jesus. So it's no big deal to assault a police officer. It's just a misdemeanor. I'm not saying it should always be a felony, I guess. I mean, there are times where I've seen, some things that, if it was considered a felony, I don't, that's probably not right. But these concerns were legitimate and felt across the country as a result, thousands of Virginians and millions of Americans decided to purchase firearms to take their safety into their own hands. Yeah. So, they're talking about, shit got bananas and everybody's buying guns. But what do you guys think about that shit? Let's make it a misdemeanor to assault a police officer. We're not gonna arrest rioters and looters. It's what the hell's up with this push for lawlessness, man?
So they can blame Trump,
I suppose.
Or so that they can finally roll in and say, oh, well, can't let protests happen because it always goes to violence and looting. Therefore, we're not going to kill the First Amendment, but we're going to do some shit that it's going to take a couple decades before the Supreme Court gets to actually to it. And tells us, no, put it back to where it was.
Why the world is want to decriminalize everything or lessen the criminality of things. I don't know.
Some things need to be lessened up on. Other things need to be left the hell alone. Some might need to be a little bit more stringent or a little wider probing, but it's because they can.
Laws don't work.
They work after the fact.
That's just plain crazy.
It's just it's a deterrent. The penalty is a deterrent. Just because you impose a law doesn't mean people are going to abide by it. It's just if you get caught, that's the penalty. And let's face it, people aren't getting caught. So why start changing laws now? I bet you if you threw in a law that said if you go around burning everything, we're going to shoot you in the face. You know how fast people would stop that stuff? Just like defacing monuments is now a felony. You guys hear about those things getting all tore up? Nobody wants to face a huge penalty. I mean, everything's so lenient now. But yet again, are cops behaving themselves? Come on. Don't tell me they are.
Some are, some aren't.
Yeah, some are and some aren't. But they're supposed to be held to a higher standard. But yet you can't treat the population like shit.
Well, no, but I'll be the first one to say, like, there's shitty cops out there. There's assholes out there. There's guys that plant evidence. Like there was one the other day where some cop planted something. I forget what it was, if it was drugs or a weapon
from China.
And he had his goddamn body camera on, and he videotaped himself doing it. It's like, oh my god, you dumb bastard! Like, but like, I think it's just like any other. I think any other job, it has to be like any other job. If you're not doing a good job, you get the hell out. You get fired. You get rid of the people that aren't doing a good job. But it's the same on the other side. Like, people commit crimes, and they need to be held accountable for them. Like, I know you're saying, oh, it's just a deterrent, and people are gonna, you hear people say, oh, that consequences are just a deterrent, and people are still going to do things. Well, you know what? When the consequences are lightened, people are going to do them more. I do believe that. I think, when the cat's away, the mice will play. When the cops pull out, what happens? It's total chaos. When they say, it's, when they say, oh, it's just a misdemeanor to do this, guess what? More people are going to do it.
You know what's terrifying to me is I just heard a group of people who have been openly labeled as domestic terrorists by the Speaker of the House say that the penalty for violation of law should be being shot in the face. That's terrifying, because we live in a country right now where people are being driven to acts of violence, extremism, racism, sexism, and every other ism you can imagine through the words of leaders that are steadily pushing us towards communism. And you have all been labeled as domestic terrorists by the senior member of the House, every one of us. And so if you think even for a minute they won't use the most extreme version of the law that is possible to execute you in your home, you're crazy.
Well, they're already executing people in their home with no-knock warrants. So, I mean, again, laws will never change the person. It's only a penalty for deterrent. And that's what I disagree with libertarians on. And I'm more libertarian leaning and more, less government type of thing. But look at the society that we live in today. Do you honestly think if we were like, all right, we're going to roll back regulations, we're going to roll back laws, everybody behave yourself? Do you honestly think what we see the day in and day out, the quote unquote isolated events, that people would actually act in that manner? I think society has taken such a downturn in humanity and the less thoughtfulness of being a human that we would never ever come to that point. But
So
again, go ahead.
you're relating the action of kids being motivated by cruel and men with plans to an entire societal decay. So I've been at protests as perimeter security. I've talked to these kids, and they have no idea that they're being driven to their deaths by the hands of men who have greater aims. They cannot articulate exactly what it is that they demand. And the people that are there that articulate the outrageous demands are being paid to be there. And so ultimately, these children are being pushed towards acts of war, and they're just waiting for this thing to topple. What do they expect? And I asked one young lady, what do you expect when you're thrown in front of a man who used to kick doors for a living against enemies of our nation? How do you expect that will turn out? Are you willing to throw your life away? Because that man is. He's done it.
Well, see, and that's what I say. People don't realize I've been in a lawless place where there is no cops shooting you with pepper balls. I've been in a lawless war zone. Anything goes. You don't want to be captured, and you don't want to die. And you don't want your dead body to be captured, because it's not going to end up well for your dead body that even relates to anything. Lawlessness is what these kids don't understand. Do you think this is lawlessness? There's a place, and it's a driven community of really stand-up individuals, if you're on the other side, and it's called the Helmand Province. Go research that place. You talk about lawlessness and everything along that road that travels to that area. And I'm going to tell you, this isn't lawlessness. This is just ignorant behavior that no one is teaching. Where are these kids' parents?
Yeah.
Do they even have parents? Where's the reform for this? Where are the people? Like I said tonight, the only reason why these kids didn't get pepperballed, you know why? Because they had old people there that said, what you're doing is not going to come about change. This is how you do it. And then the police department started tweeting them. Yeah. So, I mean, you have to teach people. And right now, nobody's being taught the lessons in life. Everybody thinks that they're going to respawn in the next round, and it doesn't work that way.
They're being bussed in to destroy the cities and to cause disruption. They're paid protesters, most of them. I've had them admit it to my face. Most of them have no idea why they're there, and the criminal element is following them right into the city. We had a full-on confrontation next to a veterans memorial with a group of them that showed up with cans of spray paint. And most of them were scared college-age kids that were getting paid $15 an hour to show up there. They have no idea what they're doing or what they're starting here or what they're getting into. They have zero concept of any of that. People who say things to them like, you should expand your mind and learn about something else, they don't. They're nowhere near that stage of their life or their existence. What they have been driven to is a frenzy by men who have greater aims. And C4 Defense in chat, who's going to be doing the executions? Your next door neighbor will be doing the execution, sir. They're already doing it. They're executing your ability to have a job. They're executing your ability to walk around without a mask. They're executing your ability to communicate the way you want to communicate. And every single day that happens, they've slowly turned us against each other to the point where they're basically doing whatever they want, Republican or Democrat. I'm going to get off my horse.
And I've always said this, and I say it in my chat, and unfortunately I say it on other people's chat, and it's just my opinion. It's not anybody on this panel or Midnights or anything, but I say it all the time. Until we stop electing perverts, pedophiles, rich people, and people of just piss poor stature, we're never going to truly understand freedom. Everybody is running the Trump train because you think they're going to take your guns. The last time that happened, people got sent packing over the pond. Could it happen? I don't know. You make the call when they come to your house and they say, we're going to take everything from you. Well, how are you going to feel? Are you going to comply? Are you going to comply like wearing a mask? Are you going to comply to these demands? I mean, it can only go so far. But if you keep electing people that don't socialize on our level, don't live every day the 9-to-5er, or at least forgot about where they came from. I mean, look at AOC. She came from a crappy bartending job to hold seats on a federal committee, and she has forgotten where she's come from. And it's the continuous vicious cycle. Until we stop electing these people, you're never going to understand true freedom. And it's a shame.
I forget how young you kids are, because gun confiscation has happened quite successfully in America. I watched it happen. They took New York and Chicago cops and they beat the hell out of little old ladies and took guns out of their hands. They watched Americans drowning and their stuff drowning, and they disarmed them. They followed Nazi Germany's plan of sending Berlin troops to Frankfurt and Frankfurt troops to Berlin to ensure that they sedated the masses. It was Louisiana during the hurricane. A massive gun confiscation happened down there, but they've steadily reduced the impact of that. It was the test, and it went off without a flaw.
But who elected these people? And why are these people still in power?
Well, that was the Bushes. Republicans elected them.
There you go. So it's the same. It's two different wings of the same bird. It's the same concept. Until we get rid of this concept that these people are not working for us. Joe Biden said it in a factory in the heart of the Midwest, and said, I don't work for you. How many times have we heard a politician say that? More than once. It comes for a time of rebellion, but this isn't the time. This is the time to put these people on notice. This is the time to get rid of these people, to end their careers. And that's by kicking them out of office. And nobody understands it. And what's even scarier is every time I watch one of these protests, guess what they end with? Who's going to go vote? Who's going to go vote? So if you look at it through that concept, these people are saying, look at all these people that are getting hurt. Guess how we're going to change this? We're going to change this by voting. And that's what a lot of people did not do this past election. A lot of people didn't vote, you know, and if the only time they do vote is because something of theirs is threatened. Not something of someone else's, just their personal. You know, sometimes you got to stop thinking about yourself and what's good for this country. This country doesn't run by one person. It runs by all of us. But we have let that go.
I agree. Typically, how we came back together was during times of national emergency, wars, and that type thing. The problem is that the last time somebody threw a war, not everybody agreed with the concept behind it. And to be honest with you, I voted for a Democrat after the second Republican president tried to get me killed, and I've regretted that forever.
Let me see if I can screen share here. I probably can't. It's not screen sharing, is it?
No, but now we just see your logo. Not the little TV screen anymore.
All right. I was going to pull up something on Instagram. Let me me find it. I'll tag you in it, Ape.
Oh, I got to open up another tab? That was like a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. That's rough, I know.
I am over here trying to tell Foss what a long john is.
Well, yeah. I never heard of that until we did that donut bracket that one time.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just like a Midwest thing. All right, Instagram. 14 seconds ago.
I did see a funny one on Instagram. It said it was from Spider-Man of J. Jonah Jameson. The dude, he laughing, and it said if there is another, and on the top it said, if there is another civil war, it'll be Antifa, snowflakes, and BLM against ex-military, country boys, hunters, and bikers. That'll be an hour we'll never get back.
All right, waiting on me.
Yeah, you got it.
Does this have audio?
I think so. So I don't know if you guys saw this yet.
All right, on Memento.
This is
I have it.
This should lighten. We'll lighten things up here a little bit. Light things up a little bit here.
The one I saw,
I gotta tell you, I saw this
experience.
The one I saw was set to Footloose.
Yeah.
I saw this and it warmed my heart. Not as much as it warmed his feet, but it warmed my heart.
Really? It warmed your heart? I thought it would have warmed your loins. A little closer.
I can't believe the high stepping that this guy does. But he basically, go ahead and play it. It's just, oopsie, dropped the Molotov cocktail.
Oh, that's like that. That's like that old Russian dance where they're like sitting on their backs going, hey.
Look, guys, it's a Human Torch.
On fire.
That shit stays lit for a long time, man.
Well,
he's still on fire.
In fuego.
Well, what most people don't remember or choose not to remember is a lot of the shit we wear is petroleum-based synthetics.
Yeah, right.
And with the exception of, they've worked better over the past few decades to make them not as flammable. But once that shit, just because it's not as flammable as some of the older stuff doesn't mean that once it's on fire, it's going to go out any quicker.
Well, and that's what people are saying. In the video, they're yelling smother, whatever. Carolina EDC said stop, drop, and roll. It was his feet, bro. Stop, dropping, and rolling wasn't going to help at all.
That riot was lit.
Oh, he was.
It sure brought a smile to my face.
He forgot to say flame off.
You know, by an interesting quinky dink, before this show started, I was actually watching the early 2000s Fantastic Four on Disney Plus. Not the new one that sucked, the one that had Jessica Alba.
Mm-hmm. I kid you not. YouTube linked me from that video to the new Fantastic Four movies.
Hell of a deal.
And from that point on, I was running.
And I needed a new pair of shoes because they were all
and
burned.
A new pair of pants.
Someone should have had some lighter fluid and put some more on them. Yeah, keep it going, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, the views and opinions expressed by Carolina EDC Reviews are the views and opinions of Carolina EDC Reviews only. Do not reflect the views and opinions of the panel.
And what's crappy about that is the cops went over there and put them out, and then they threw another one at the cops.
They kind of just went over and like stood there for a second and all sort of started to walk away. They weren't real concerned with him at all, as far as I saw. A couple of them went over and just kind of like, we're like, what do we do? Oh, fuck it. I don't know. Just let it.
Yeah, I don't know. He can't do anything else later tonight.
I would have been there like, we'll call the fire department, guys.
Something. Yeah. One of your boys is on fire. You better hope somebody has a fire extinguisher.
They didn't like him anyway. That's why they smashed him.
Yeah, one of the cops had the fire extinguisher and put a shoe out for him. It's hilarious. If you watch it, the cops go over there and the one cop's like, Stop moving so I could spray you with the fire extinguisher.
Now, the only way that could have possibly gotten worse is if one of those Antifa people had a thing of bear spray and thought, hey, this could put it out, and found out, oh no, this actually has a flammable propellant. Even though I think a lot of stuff nowadays is using compressed nitrogen or CO2.
Nice.
You could have played that old song, "Oh, I'm on fire."
Me might not fire. Me like it hot, hot, hot. That one.
Yeah. Well, what is that song?
Keep
Tell me
saying-
now, baby, was she good to you?
Yeah. Hey, little baby, was she good to you? Yeah, it's not Mellencamp.
Bruce
It's,
Springsteen.
Bruce Springsteen.
Springsteen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Springsteen. Yeah.
He was roasting some
Call the
weed.
water fairies. No.
Yeah, that was
Matt.
on. I think I tagged you in. Did I tag you in Military Arms Channels one? Is that the one that I tagged you in?
Talking to me?
Yeah, I think it was.
Well, okay. Thank you, Allen Precision Manufacturing, for apparently spamming all my posts that I put like 2 years ago. Mentioned to you
Too
5
bad
minutes.
this didn't happen during the holidays. It could have been chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
Mentioned to you. Now I got one from 1 week ago on this one. Is it like a new military arms one?
Nah, it doesn't matter. No,
It doesn't
it's
matter.
fine.
So the answer was no.
So, yeah. What else? What else we got? Anything else? Anything else happening out there?
I don't know. Fall is definitely upon us.
Yeah.
The Summer Snack Shack is closing next weekend.
I
still smell like gunpowder from the range today.
Oh, yeah? You go jump in the creek or something.
No. Go jump into that underground swimming pool you got the concrete covers over.
I clicked on a gun free zone. It said, this ammo thing is getting silly. And it's a screen share of Wolf 9mm steel case, $40 for 50 rounds.
What?
Fucking A.
Somebody should go to jail for that. That's criminal.
I'm not sure where it's from. I can't tell.
There ought to be.
I can't tell who was selling it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here, I thought it was going to be that meme that's going around of the 2 green tips and like what looks like an engagement ring box, and it's cheaper than dirt.
Yeah.
2 rounds, green tip, $50.
There's more truth to that than one might hope.
Unfortunately.
I picked up green tip for 20 rounds, $9.99 a box today at Academy. That wasn't bad.
Yeah, I saw Academy. I got an email from Academy that they had some stuff in. They had some handgun stuff.
Yeah, we picked up 500 rounds of 9 and
what the
bunch of 5.56.
Wheeled and well armed is out there. He says, "Did you see Biden say Edison didn't invent the light bulb? A black man did." I don't know. Is that true?
Yes.
I don't know.
Well,
I mean, who knows?
Well, here's the whole thing. There have been light bulbs. Actual light bulbs have been around probably about 10 or 20 years before Edison perfected his, but they were called an arc lamp. It's literally just an arc of electricity going across 2 points of metal. Edison perfected the mass production of the incandescent because they used it uses significantly less current because you're just heating up a wire than trying to bridge an air gap.
Boy, Biden's last flub that he had the other day when he was talking, he was doing that speech. Holy smokes, that was incoherent. When he's talking about 100 years ago something, and it was brutal.
Like, COVID killed more people in 100 years. I'm like, what?
Somebody pull that one up and play it. I won't play through mine, but somebody pull that one up and play it. That's brutal too.
That's elder abuse, is what that is. What they're doing to Biden is criminal.
I think so.
It is. It's the dude is. Oh my god! You feel bad about it because anybody that says he's fine is either willfully ignorant or lying. Like I think he's not.
It's a little of column A and a little of column B. But in all honesty, is Trump that much better?
He says dumb shit, but I think he just says dumb shit. Biden, I don't think even knows what he's saying half.
Trump can just tolerate the meth better than Biden.
Yeah.
No. Well, with Trump, at least, it's that he's stroking his own freaking ego. That's all he's doing. He's trying to make him sound better so that everybody will like him better. So everybody loves Trump. But no, it's like, can we get some presidential candidates that are at least in, say, their 60s, 50s preferably?
Can we get a presidential candidate that I would consider to be completely sane? Would be a starting point. Any fully functional adult.
Never.
No. Because they wouldn't have a broad enough appeal to get elected.
Right. Well, I'm just saying Condoleezza Rice with Ted Cruz as the vice president, and let's throw down.
Did you guys see the Trump boats that sunk? They had the Trump boat parade, and those boats sunk.
Yeah, like 3 of them went down, right, or something like that. 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, 3 or 4. Yep.
Well, people were trying to offload some stuff. It was a boating accident, I tell you.
Yeah, there's Scott's out there. They're waiting for him to stroke out so then Harris can get a bump in the polls.
They're just going to Article 25 him.
And what does that mean? He's not fit to lead? Is that basically
correct?
What that is?
Yeah, 6 months in, they'll Article 25 him and remove him. That's what the plan would be.
I mean, I'd be surprised if it was 6 months. If he wins, I don't think it would even be 6 months. My thing is, I'm really interested to see how they get out of doing debates. How are they going to get out of
COVID? He's going to get COVID. Yeah. Biden's going to get COVID and make a miraculous recovery right before the election.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that would be about it.
Either that, or they're going to try and do something like, well, we'll try and do like a freaking Zoom call, and there'll be technical difficulties all throughout.
Mm-hmm.
They'll just have the running mates duke it out because that's just how they do it, because they already set that one up.
Yeah, I don't know. Part of me wants to kind of watch the train wreck of 2 old dudes just going at it, but it's also kind of sad.
Well, it would be Trump beating the living crap out of Biden, and ugliness from that.
Well, I mean, it's crazy too, because I remember back when the Democratic debates were going on, when they were, going to see who was going to get the Democratic the Democratic nomination, and I just remember being on here and talking about it and being like, I can't believe how mean and nasty and dirty they're being to each other. It's like. And that's coming out. That keeps coming up too, popping up where Harris has said that, she believes that Biden is, she believes the accusers and, all that shit. And now she's his buddy. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's such a dirty, rotten, fucking nasty business, man.
Our country has seen its last civil election of any official. The Republicans would be crazy if they didn't absolutely try to impeach every candidate that the Democrats put forward forever. And the Democrats have been trying to impeach every president the Republicans have put forward for, what, 3 presidents, 4 presidents? So at this point, the United States has enjoyed many years of very civil election processes, and that is coming to an end.
Now I want peaches.
I want peach cobbler.
We get that.
M. Gabriel wants to see the fist fight.
Yeah, fist fight.
Not really.
Is that like celebrity deathmatch?
Yeah, oh my god.
That's something they need to bring back. Celebrity death match.
Oh, you couldn't do it nowadays, man. I mean,
Sure
they
you could.
would. Shit,
Paging Dr. Netflix.
This is
Yeah.
true.
Paging some random ass guy on YouTube.
That's true. Yes, you could. You just have
Well,
to.
guy that comments.
You'd have to do it without any kind of sponsorship, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, guy that comments, if people want to have Joe Jorgensen or an independent candidate to be on the debate stage, people need to vote for them and get them up to around that 15 percentile, so we don't just have I've got a demented, possibly Alzheimer's pedophilic person, or I got a guy who's spray painted more orange than all the Oompa Loompas combined and just likes stroking his own ego every possible time he can get.
So I know that an independent has to have so many whatevers to get on the debate stage.
I think
many
it's
votes
like 15%. Used to be like, I think 10%, and then they bumped it to like 15. If they get a certain amount on, let's go back to 2016. If they would have gotten X number of the vote in 2016 in a certain state or other states, then 2020, the candidate that they're running would be guaranteed to be on the 2020 ballot.
Mm. I mean,
let's be honest with each other. There hasn't been an independent candidate that was viable in so long.
Ross Perot.
Really? Ross wasn't going to run, and we all knew that.
No, but he was the last time that they got the percentile.
Yeah, but Ross Perot, none of us that voted for him thought he was going to continue forward. He was even talking about not continuing forward. And the truth of the matter is, if the independents were so gosh darn right all the time, why can't they ever produce a viable candidate? They're not. They fight with each other more than Republicans and Democrats do.
No, because the Republicans and Democrats have this freaking grip on people. The last time we had a quote-unquote viable third-party candidate was Teddy Roosevelt as the Progressive Bull Moose Party. And that split the vote with the Republicans and got us Woodrow Wilson, unfortunately.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
But it's that it's gotten ingrained in people's heads in the U.S. that, well, there's Republican or there's Democrat. All those other ones, they don't have a fucking chance. They don't have a fucking chance. Why throw my vote away?
What do you think about if they would take the percentage off and just take Democrat, Republican, and whatever party has the next greatest amount of support, basically? Like, you know, it would be independent, obviously. I mean, why cut it off at 2, you know, other than they want a bi-party system?
Well, again, it comes back to producing a viable candidate. So a viable candidate is not just somebody who has the ability to speak publicly and is attractive in what they say they're going to do, but somebody who can inspire people to donate to their cause and inspire people to come out and vote. For all the talk about George Jorgensen and all these other people, they're not producing money and they're not producing votes. So, you know.
Mm-hmm. But without having them on that stage with the other two, like, what are the chances that third party will ever gain popularity? I would like to see, like, Democrat and Republican, because they're obviously number 1 and number 2, and whoever the third most popular I don't want to say organization, but political party would be, put them on the stage too. Make them and let that organization that I keep wanting to say organization.
The thing, the thing go thing.
Yeah, that group, let them have a chance to build, you know what I mean? That's the only way it's going to happen. It's never going to happen like this. You need 15% or whatever it is. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot.
None of them are really more interested in doing anything more than a local grassroots campaign and maybe something that hits on the outskirts in a couple of states. You don't see them really going overboard the way the main political candidates do. And that comes down to money. And so if we're ever going to see another independent candidate, it's going to be a Ross Perot. It's going to be somebody who can pony up the money for the advertising or has the ability to actually recruit the money or bring the money in. And the reality of it is that's more like old-fashioned politics when we used to see more candidates. Old-fashioned politics had that person out there beating the trail, knocking on doors, kissing babies, and things of that nature. It was less
So
around
you're
the blow-up.
saying we should be looking for a 2024 Elon Musk campaign?
I would think so. I would seriously think so. You've read my mind, sir.
Either that or he's just going to use Kanye as a puppet.
I would totally use Kanye to get Elon Musk in.
There we go, people. Kanye Musk or Kanye Elon 2024.
Yeah, Joe Jorgensen's got a lot of shortcomings, and like her constant. This is like the third time she's visited Alaska. It's like, look, I understand that you want to do something, but you're visiting a state that, I mean, it matters, but why did you visit it like for the third time? You're not going to these popular places.
Nope.
You know, that's the bad thing about it. You're not going to the places where you need to go. And that could be a financial situation, but don't sit there. See, that's why I don't think she's got enough clout. Doesn't have enough clout to take that stage. She's not doing enough.
No, and you can't tell me it's all financial if your trip is to Alaska 3 times. Come on, let's be honest. You could jump a Greyhound and get to all 50 or 48 of the states continental if you're really that enticed or really that excited to do it. And I've seen grassroots, going store to store, kissing babies, talking to people face to face that have had serious impacts on things. We've seen it with 2A advocacy and things of that nature. So it's not like it's an ineffective process. And again, it just comes down to a candidate with shortcomings who isn't genuinely worth the 15%.
There you go.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, but I think too, as voters, as citizens, they never get a real chance to see that third party. You
get that extra option. You don't just have the cheeseburger or the hamburger. You got a chicken sandwich as well.
Yeah, and they never get a chance to see it in action on stage with the other two, and say that it might just be that one thing that they say during the debates that makes people go, oh wow, okay, cool. Well, I never thought of that.
I like that, or that actually sounded like a sane proposition for this thing instead of just going off and ranting and blaming the other side.
Yeah, so. I don't think it'll ever happen unless you would ever. I just don't think you'd ever get a viable third party if you keep holding them down, and putting glass ceilings on top of them.
That's the intent. The people that are in power they like having two parties because they each can point their fingers at the other person, get the little people out of their little jars that they've put us all in, and go, well, you're in this jar because of those persons over there. Give me money, keep me in power, rather than one person looking at both sides and saying to the public, no, these two idiots are the ones that are keeping you in there. I don't want any of this stuff. Just,
Yeah. Erstwhile's out there. How you doing, buddy? He says, I think we should go back to electing the president and the runner-up is vice president. We'll create executive branch that gets absolutely nothing done.
So when did that stop being a thing?
What? Before World War I, I think.
You know what? Keep yammering amongst yourselves. I'm going to do some Google foo.
I'm just saying, let's get rid of income tax and we'll work from there.
Okay, well, can your DeLorean go back to say 1910?
Yeah, that would be nice. You have no idea what my gun collection would look like.
Let's see, a lever gun, a Colt potato digger.
That sounds racist. Colt potato digger?
No,
I don't think you can say that.
A chow chat, a BAR. I mean, we're talking
BARs
1910.
BARs weren't a thing until 1918.
Right. We go to 1910. I'm in my mid-40s. I'll make it up to World War II. You won't believe the collection I have.
Yeah, but 1935, all those things become NFA items, and you have to fork over $200.
Yeah, but you run the
Or-
Brownings. You run every one of the Browning weapons until 1935 and hand that collection over to the grandbabies.
Yeah, but Joe Biden already said COVID's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. So
This is true.
Somebody find that clip and play it. I want to listen to it.
Technically, it's true that
It has been.
the virus. There's been different types of virus. The cold.
Yeah, I was exposed to COVID 03, and that's why they can't tell me whether or not I've ever had COVID-19 or not.
Well, he specifically said COVID-19, so I mean, you can't let him off the hook.
I don't think anybody here is letting Joe Biden off the "you're nuttier than squirrel turds" hook.
No, he's a nightmare, man.
Yeah,
look at him a year ago versus today. He almost isn't the same. Doesn't look like the same person. Like he's aged 20 years in a year.
the fact that he keeps saying things like they'd shoot me if I said that, or it's pretty well convinced me that somebody's pulling the strings on that puppet.
It's all the smelling of youth. He goes up to the little kids and shit and smells them and takes their youth. Just like that little guy in Cat's Eye that comes out of the wall and sucks your breath.
Oh my God,
That's what he
yes.
does. Yes. I'm getting younger.
He's like, oh, yes.
And wow at the 1980s bad horror movie reference, sir. Bravo.
Thank you. I've been working on that all night.
You know, if they had a debate with Biden and Trump, you know, and they wanted to trick Biden, there'd be like a 96% chance that he would not recognize that it's not Trump. It's actually a mannequin with a wig and a little speaker box, and Biden would fall for it.
That guy over there is mean. He said that pigs and cats couldn't have ice cream sundaes. Oh, my wife just told me that I have to take another pill.
It's time for my nap, guys. I gotta go.
I gotta go. Debate's over.
Debate's over. I gotta go take a nap.
I've got to get up and vote for Trump in the morning.
Yeah. Somebody was, I forget what show I was watching, and they were talking about all the terms he uses. They were talking about somebody that analyzes words, you know, analyzes sentences and words and dialect, and you know what you use when you're trying to convince somebody that you're telling the truth. All those believe you know me, and you can trust me, and all those kind of phrases, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's like, and then they skipped to a bunch of Biden speeches, and it was like so many of them in there. He starts out with speeches, or it's like every other line of dialogue in the speech that he's reading, he's adding that stuff into it, and I'm sure it's not, it's not written in there because they don't write speeches like that. But he's like, you know me, and you can trust me, and I've done this, and it's just all these add-ins that they say is people use to make you trust them, basically.
Well, Biden's probably in the first stage of Alzheimer's or some other form of dementia. His speech patterns are definitively like we used to say in stage 1 Alzheimer's patients. So it's not that they are incapable of coming up with a thought. It's they're incapable of putting the right word where they want it to be. And so they struggle to put in the right word. And so there's a whole chart that you go through with that, where they'll say, hey, can you tell me what this is? And they'll, instead of house, they'll say church or something else of that nature. And that's a part of that testing. He's definitively in the early stages of something.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I lived with my grandmother when she started dealing with Alzheimer's pretty bad. And it's not a fun, it's a very sad disease. But one of the things that really makes you notice it was some of these old clips that they're digging up, and it's not, they're not digging up the clips for this purpose, but it's to show that he's full of shit. But the clips are of him, in his younger days, and he was a good speaker. He was a very confident speaker. They say he used to flub all the time. I don't know about that, but the way he spoke, his mannerisms, he was very confident. He spoke directly. He spoke well. He was very convincing when he spoke, from what I've seen of these clips. And you fast forward to now, and it's like, holy smokes, man, he's a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's sad is people aren't doing their research. Ever since he stepped on a national stage, he's lied. He lied about his college. He lied about certain bills he sponsored. Then he sponsored other bills and then tried to lie he didn't sponsor those. This guy's a professional liar.
Yeah.
I mean, they all are, but I mean, this guy is a real professional liar.
Yeah, you talk about his college or whatever. I just had heard that one. I had heard things about that, but I never really heard what he said. And they saw a speech where him speaking, and he was talking about being top third in his class, and he actually came in like 77th out of like 82 or something like that. And he was talking about being like top couple in his class. It's like, you don't forget. That's not shit you forget. You don't forget that you barely passed law school. You know what I mean? You don't forget it,
No, that's stuff you may not forget, but you try and downplay.
Well, and that means you don't talk about it. One of the things that I used to do to kind of pick out, and I still do to this day, to pick out if somebody's lying to me, is to see how long they take to explain something or how far down a trail they go to explain something.
Mm-hmm.
We used to do it with people that were claiming to be in the military all the time. If you were in the military, there are things that like the back of your hand, right? And so for these people, they have to explain those things away, right? They can't explain certain things to you just like the back of their hand. So they try to explain those things away. And it's a real good way to see if somebody's lying when they tend to carry a story out beyond just, frank.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's just, I was never into politics. I never really enjoyed talking about it. I honestly, like when I grew up, even into college or whatever, I just didn't give a shit, which a lot of kids don't. But the last couple of years, I started really getting interested in it, and trying not trying to learn about it, but like just being interested in it, I guess is the best way to put it. And this last couple, like 6 months, or a year or whatever, it's I'm over it. Like I'm so burned out on politics. Like I don't trust anybody. I don't want to hear anybody fucking talk. You don't know who's lying and who's not lying. And they're probably both lying. They're just lying in different ways. It's so bad for politics to have probably a lot of people like me that are so over it and don't trust anything that anybody says anymore. That is so hurtful to the running of your country, But what are you going to do about it? There's not. What can be done? So far gone now. He's a politician. Of course, he's a professional liar. Yeah, no shit.
Well, you have to be when you're looking people straight in the eyeballs and telling them a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
Of course, he's a professional liar. He's served more than one term in any political post.
I had one of those people tell me one time, I had a congressman one time tell me that term limits were a horrible idea because it was impossible for someone to learn the job that a politician is required to do in less than 6 years. And I looked at him and I said, then you have been in office way too long, and our government is doing way more than it was ever intended to do. And he wouldn't talk to me anymore after that.
Yeah, and I, as far as term limits go, me being kind of a newbie in politics, part of me says I think term limits are a great idea, and then part of me says the same thing a little bit because I'll say it. I'm not educated in politics very highly. I'll say, yeah, it's got to take them a little while to really get the swing of things, right? And then they really get rolling, and you pull them out, and they got to go. But at the same time, you see Biden's been in politics for how many fucking years now? Like, I don't want to say 40 years, but it's more than that, right? I mean, he's 70 something, and he's been in politics since he's been. I mean,
30.
maybe it's 50 years. Maybe
35,
it's 50 years?
I think. He's been in 35 years.
Okay, so it is 40 years. Like, it's just, what do you? Let's see some action, man. Like, what have you really done, right? I want to see
Made
people
himself a millionaire. He's
True.
done a lot. Look at what's her name? Occasional Cortex. She's made herself a millionaire already. She made her first $1 million the same week she was griping about not being able to afford the apartment.
Yeah.
I mean, term limits only really work as if at the end of your term limit, we immediately either execute you or we ship you off to the Antarctic or throw you up into space where you can talk to nobody or have any contact.
Yeah, they all just become lobbyists after that.
They become lobbyists, or they get a nice, cushy motivational speaking job at certain companies that they may or may not have put in legislation or proper wording to their liking.
Right. Well, that's a tale old as time. You know, one of my friends got real mad about the Bushes making a bunch of money off war when we were in the service together, and I had to point out to him that his dad and my dad and everybody else's dad had served in a war where the president of the United States, his wife, owned stock in the company that was making the helicopters that they, for some reason, decided to throw into frontline combat.
Halliburton.
Yeah.
No, this is Vietnam era.
Sikorsky, Bell, Lockheed.
Bell. Yep.
And the lousy bastards, they cost us a pretty good copter called the Cheyenne.
Yep. The Cheyenne would have been a nifty one.
And surprise, surprise, apparently at the last Boeing what's coming up or what we're proposing for 2020, 2021, there's a pusher helicopter that looks suspiciously like the Cheyenne.
I bet.
Because they think they actually bought out, who was the Cheyenne? Was it Grumman?
I need to look. Hang on.
Hurry up, Midnight. We're causing filler for you to find something more important for us to talk about.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
we're
looking
totally
through-
doing that right now.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, when we don't, when we run out, we run out. We don't have to go. I'll be 100% honest. I'm kind of beat anyway. We had I didn't even talk about it online, but when I was sick, our dog was actually Macy. If you watched the show, she was on the show once or twice. She hung out with me here. She's a Chug. She's a Chihuahua Pug mix. She's diabetic, and she actually a few weeks ago got really, really sick. Like we thought we were gonna have to. I thought we were gonna have to put her down. We took her to the animal vet, the emergency room for there's an emergency vet. They kept her overnight and tweaked her meds, and she had gastritis and all this. She was whatever, and she pulled out of it. And this last night she threw up, and this morning she wasn't doing well. So I was, I actually filmed for like a little couple seconds on my phone because I, hey, I'm over here and I don't think I'm going to be able to do the show tonight. And then they called and said that she was doing better. But I was sitting at for 3 hours I was sitting in the parking lot at the animal clinic tonight. So kind of a rough night anyway. And she's doing a little bit better now. She ate a little bit and they have her on some stuff, but yeah, she's getting up there. She's starting to have some issues. I mean, she's been on insulin for a while now, a couple of years, and she was doing really well until a few weeks ago, and she really had a bad crash, and we weren't sure she was gonna make it. So they put her on, changed things up a little bit, and she's been doing pretty good until tonight. She had a little incident, but And then they call me and they say, okay, we're going to bring her out because people aren't going inside. They actually come out the parking lot and take them from you. They bring her out and I pay the bill and fucking truck wouldn't start.
Oh man.
I'm like, son of a bitch, man. And I
Midnight, you should know better than to let Nerf Shooter try and charge his Nintendo on the battery.
Yeah. And it was, I didn't even really, you don't really even think about it. But that whole time I was inside and I had my phone plugged in and I was just listening to some chats and listening to, some stuff online. Didn't even, you don't really even think about it. And like time kind of flies. And yeah, I turned the switch and it went click, 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 click. And I'm like, son of a bitch, man. I texted the wife. I'm like, well, I got the dog, but my truck won't fucking start now. So one of the other guys that was dropping his dog off of the yard, let me use my cables and we jumped it. It started right up. So I don't think there's anything wrong. I think I just killed the damn battery, not paying attention. But
I don't know, how old's the battery?
19. So it should be fine.
Yeah.
I will say this though, it's not a very large battery. I forgot how small it was, so I don't know if it's just
the actual battery that it's for.
No, it's the right battery. I just mean that, I know I've done that before in other vehicles, but Gizzard says you wouldn't think a cell phone would draw that much, right? Yeah, but I was playing videos through my my.
So you left it on like accessory. You didn't like turn it off and just sit there with it on that
right.
10-minute timer. Okay, yeah.
Right, yeah.
So then you've also got like your interior lights and some of your pumps and sensors and that.
Yeah, exactly. The dash lights were still on and all that kind of shit. Yeah. So I was like, oh shit, I'm a dumbass. But
well, for more than that, but
yeah, right. So yeah, I didn't get home till a little after 9, I think it was. So we don't have to go super long. And yeah, it's a bummer. She's getting up there in years, and I don't think we're gonna have her all that much longer. But she came home, and what they gave her IV, they checked her glucose, and they gave her what did they give her? I forget what it's called. And when she came home, she wanted to eat. She hadn't eaten in like a day, so she ate some chicken and got a big drink. So hopefully she'll be better now. But I don't know. I think it's one of these times it's going to be something bad, because the last time we took her in a couple of weeks ago, they did an awful lot of tests, and when they have to start looking at such a large variety of things, it makes you wonder. You know what I mean? Like, what's going to go? What's going to happen next? Is it going to be, because she had pancreatitis and gastritis, and you worry about, if her kidneys fail or something like that. I mean, what do? You can only do so much. And it was a very expensive trip last time because she was there overnight. I mean, it was, I don't even want to tell you how much it was. It was
wow.
More than a single bottle of the rancid diet beef soda.
Oh yeah,
you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Hey, I said a single bottle. That's what you've been packaging the Steel Reserve super high-end single barrel beef soda in.
You know what? Those guys, when they package, they put that stuff in those cans. They don't even line the cans. They're just like raw, like aluminum cans. It's gross. I can't.
It's not aluminum.
To line the cans. The diet beef soda lines the cans for you.
And it's not really aluminum. It's
lines
more like
it with
Z-Mac.
Beef talent.
You see, Midnight, when you buy the diet beef soda zero, you get actual aluminum, not Z-Mac.
Yeah. M. Gabriel says, feed her the best stuff she can have. Yeah, we give her a mix of foods. I mean, she's done very well. She actually had gained a lot of weight back a few years back, and we changed her foods and changed her diet, and she'd lost a fair amount of weight, and was really doing well. And then she went downhill again, and that's when we found out about her sugar. So, after getting her on insulin, she was doing pretty good. So, I mean, we're not, I'll say she's not on like some kind of crazy organic, 100% awesome food, but she does pretty well. I mean, she eats pretty good.
So then you finally stop feeding her your mistakes from work?
Yeah. Yeah, nobody wants that shit.
Yeah.
No Monte Cristos for her, huh?
Nope. Especially since it was so saturated with oil.
Yeah.
I don't really think that you can recover the cheese once it's kind of diluted itself into the oil.
Well, you could probably
coffee strainer.
Yeah, I never put it in a paper towel for a day or so. I'm sure it would absorb most of the bad stuff. I think you're good.
Yeah, just keep it away from a heat source or any source of sparks.
Mm-hmm.
But on the plus side, your home will smell like French fries.
How Trump is championing.
Mm-mm.
I always have such a hard time with saying that word championing. How Trump is championing the Second Amendment. Let's find out. I'm sure this will be good. Oh, bigger NRA banner up there.
Meh.
Hey, Honda, what's going on, buddy? I didn't die. So I was only mostly dead, buddy.
Unlike Honda, when it's the first of the month and people have money to throw at them for vodka.
Gabriel says, I mean the stuff she likes. Nobody wants to die eating salads. That's true. President Trump has long been an advocate of our Second Amendment rights, but the incumbent is stepping up things a notch, making it a centerpiece of his 2020 campaign. If the left gains power, they will confiscate your guns and appoint justices who will wipe away your Second Amendment and other constitutional freedoms, Trump said during his speech on the closing night of the RNC. We will defend your Second
Amendment
Kavanaugh. Right? To keep and bear arms. And if we don't win, your Second Amendment doesn't have a chance. I can tell you that. I have totally protected it. Oh, I don't know about that. I have totally protected it bullshit.
He believes he is totally protected it.
That's true.
I'm still trying to figure out what the heck happened in Vegas. Anybody else figure that out yet?
Nobody will ever know exactly what happened.
Nope, it's one of those things that it's just going to get swept under the rug. Maybe in 25 years or so, Netflix will make a special on it. Like they did with the Killdozer. Yeah.
Well, the Killdozer was on TV, man. Everybody got to see the Killdozer.
Yeah, but Ronald Reagan died the next day, so it all got swept under the rug.
This is valid.
Trump has repeatedly pointed to Virginia as a prime example of what happens when liberal progressives gain power. He has routinely cautioned supporters at rallies that what happens in one state does not always stay in one state. Now, yeah, we've been saying that for years. People are like, fuck California. Fuck them. Screw them. Who gives a shit? Well,
Dr. Bloomberg.
Virginia is just an example of what happens when people think that a sanctuary county is going to save them from stuff. We managed to get 30,000 people at the Capitol. I paid to have 12 people sent up there. We called 133 sheriff's departments and asked for somebody to go down there and place that man under arrest, and they wouldn't even respond to it. There are 6 million people hiding in sanctuary cities and towns in that state, and none of them could be bothered to show up and do anything about it. So it wouldn't have mattered if there was a Republican in office trying to pass anti-gun laws. It was going to be that way.
Yeah. He's super pro gun.
Stroking his own ego.
Yeah, who knew? Calling 911 to be deemed a hate crime in New Jersey? Let's see what this is all about. Calling 911 with a... Oh, okay. It says calling 911 with a false claim because of race can now put you in prison for years in Jersey. You let pedophiles out. What the hell are you gonna lock somebody up for that for? Shit.
Because they're even easier to control. You don't have to have a separate special unit.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Is this like the... outcome we're seeing of that chick in New York losing her shit and saying, well, I can call the cops and say a black man's harassing me and they'll blah, blah, blah. You know, that dog park.
Shit like, basically shit like that. Yeah. Yeah. Make new things crimes and make crimes less crime. I think that's what they're trying to keep things balanced out. They're fair and balancing. That's what they're doing.
No, they're fair and profiting.
Oh yeah. Local sheriffs. No, we will not send our officers to Portland to help. Get bent. That's not in there, but the sheriffs of Clackamas and Washington counties say they will not send staff to help with protests in Portland after Oregon Governor Kate Brown unveiled a plan to address the violence and protests. The plan called on several law enforcement agencies to help, including the sheriff's offices of those counties. Clackamas County Sheriff Craig Roberts said the governor didn't approach his office before rolling out the plan intended to address the violence and arson while also protecting free speech. Increasing law enforcement resources in Portland will not solve the nightly violence and now murder, says the sheriff said. The only way to make Portland safe again is to support a policy that holds offenders accountable for their destruction and violence. Holy shit, this guy's saying you should hold people accountable. What an idiot. So dumb.
Meh.
He says, yeah, you made your bed. Lie in it.
Oh, but I want to get elected again, so I can't make it look like I'm doing anything.
Yeah. So here's a question, okay? Because there's an article on them doing the Gen 117 again, Glock.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think they'd be able to sell those new production Glock 17s in California since they used to be able to the original ones are on the roster? I think I think that might be part of why they're doing it. But I've heard people say that they wouldn't be allowed to be under the roster because it's a new production gun. But I don't know why that would matter. If it's a G17 Gen 1, it's a 17 Gen 1.
Because money.
I really don't care. I just want one.
I am indifferent to its existence.
Mm.
It's like, ooh, it's a Glock. That's all I'm seeing is it's a Glock.
I intend to take one and put it with the rest of the Glocks in my Glock collection and roll around in my bed on top of them.
Looks like a good way to chip a tooth.
Ooh.
You know, I don't know whether or not that would be something they could pull off or not, because you can't make, so for instance, you can't make a duplicate of an M16 or an AR-15 from the 70s and use it in California in that
right, because it wasn't
actually
produced. It wasn't actually produced then.
Correct.
Yeah,
Right.
but that would. Let me get my thought here.
But
that's
they're not saying that there's nothing. I highly doubt there's anything on the roster that says you're allowed to have Glock 17 Gen 1s produced from this year to this year. You know what I mean?
Well, if it doesn't have it now, if you start bringing those guns in, it will.
They'll have to make it right. That's what I mean. Like, I feel like they're not going to want them for sure, because holy shit, like if they start cranking those sumbitches out and start and you're allowed to buy them in Cali, holy crap, man, that'd be a field day for them. But I haven't,
unless it's. I haven't seen any like the paperwork for the roster unless it's something like, manufacturer Glock, model number, 1, 2, 3, 4, caliber 9mm, and if Glock doesn't give this the same model number or whatever, it's the R1234. Well, nope, sorry.
and
even though it's exactly the same.
You're allowed to have a
model
Smith and Wesson Shield, model 1 or whatever. If they continue to make those forever, then fine. But who's to say if they continue to make them, then stop making them, then continue to make them again, that wouldn't be allowed, and that's basically the situation. You know what I mean? So I was just wondering. I thought, I was like, that's a hell of a good question, but nobody really has a good answer for me. So
well, yeah, I would say if they start that process, then California will figure out a way to work around that. They're good about keeping their people under thumb.
Yeah,
they're real good about that.
Huh. I just know there's a, I keep every once in a while I hear about different guns that aren't allowed in there because they don't want to pay the however much to put them on the roster.
Who's scratching themselves?
George is scratching behind his ear with his foot.
Sorry, I was cleaning my screen.
Ooh, didn't realize George was quite that flexible.
He's getting excited.
No, there's too many thumbprints on the screen. I don't know. I didn't even know that my mic was on.
That's all right, man.
I had to open my doors and my windows. I was repairing a stock here, and I decided to use JB Weld to repair it because it's a non-visible side of the stock, and I started to have more fun than I should have been.
I was watching some of the videos I was watching when I was over there destroying the battery in my truck were let me see if I can find it's a Russian guy, or these Russian guys, and it's called something in Russian. I don't know, and it says Russian War. I'm gonna put this into the chat here. Hold on one second. And what it is they go to these swamps and they metal detect, and they pull up like all these crazy things.
I've seen that.
The video that I actually watched was freaking wild, man. They here we go. They were pulling up mortars. They were pulling up like 45 millimeter shells, these long shells. They pulled out an anti-tank rifle. It was crazy.
There'd be no world where I would dig a mortar out. I've seen some old crap still detonate.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Some of the people in the chat were like, they were joking around. They're like, yeah, they're probably not going to go off, but they could. And, at one point he's got like a shovel and he's literally digging. He's digging in this hole. And that's where they found those 45 millimeter shells. And it's like, holy shit. He banged into one or two of them with that shovel. They pulled out a drum mag. They pulled out a case of ammo. It's probably, I don't know if it was 7.6. The drum mag looked like it was like 30 Kurtz or something. I don't know. It looked like a 30 millimeter, but it was short. So maybe 30 Kurtz or something. And then they pulled out some Mosins, a couple of Mosins. One of them was in pretty good shape, actually, for as long as it's been in this mud. And they pulled out a box of ammo. They found a box of ammo. It was like a metal, like a Spam can, but it was bigger. And they pried it open and it had a whole bunch of ammo in it. It was pretty awesome. So that's the that's the link for it down there. I just threw it in the chat. Click on that and watch it. It's really pretty awesome. They're up to their knees in swamp mud, digging stuff out. It's pretty awesome. I haven't watched a whole lot of their other stuff, but it's all in Russian. They have some subtitles though, so check that out. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll couple this with my earlier exploration of a little anime, and the FBI will be knocking on my front door in 10 minutes.
Yeah, there you go.
Nah, FBI doesn't do anything in 10 minutes.
That's true.
Now, your local sheriff's office, maybe.
It's funny because at one point he found this box, and it was, maybe 18 inches by 12 inches or something. Maybe. And you couldn't really see what it was. And he has like this pry bar, and he's like, bang, bang, bang. And he kind of puts it in there and wedges it in and then pops it out. And it's it's mortars, and it's like mortar shells. And I was like, being a little rough there, aren't you, buddy? just kind of digging in there and prying them out of there, you know.
Yeah, I just watched him pull a Mosin stock out of the mud.
Oh yeah, well they find the rest of it too. They find the rest of the rifle. There's one Mosin they pull out about a quarter of the way through the video that, I mean, when you see it, it's like you damn near want to try and work the bolt, you know, because it's all there.
Yeah.
Things there. But it's pretty neat. And that one, they found some of the stuff in clay. They found a helmet and all. There's just tons of stuff. But yeah, it's really neat. Check it out. Click on that and watch that video. I mean, if that one doesn't get you interested, I don't know what will, because that one had a whole lot of cool stuff they found. So, all right. So if nobody has anything else, we'll tie it up here and tie up the trash bag and throw it out to the curb.
Sounds good to me. I'm getting old.
Yeah, I hear you.
You are old.
Ooh.
Oh.
Darn it! I'm not going to put up with
Damn
that.
whippersnapper, I tell you. French toast, please.
E Honda said FPS Russia. I saw on Arms List today an AK-47 mag signed by him. Somebody was selling on Arms List.
He's still around. He's
still
does
alive?
podcasts under he does podcasts under his normal name. His
Yeah.
lover was the one that died. It wasn't him. He just went to jail.
Well, he's been doing podcasting since podcasting was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was huge back in the day, man. Crazy. All started out of nowhere, like a joke, you know? All started with a joke.
Well, no, he originally was a what was it, like Modern Warfare YouTube gamer and whatever. That was just his handle, was FPS Russia. And it just started out as a shtick.
Yeah, he would do the voice. His friends would be like, "Oh, do the voice," and he would do it. And next thing you know, holy shit, how crazy! And it's a shame what happened for sure. I mean, they just got in over their heads, I guess. You know, I'm not sure that they even know 100% what happened. When the other guy got killed.
Well, there was definitely the charges filed against him include some drug charges. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'd heard that too. Yeah. All right. So you guys have anything to throw in there in closing? Any plugs you guys want to do? Let her rip, man.
Check out my channel. Just finished the Fear 109, and we'll be doing the MKA 1919 Match Pro this week.
Very sweet. George, you got anything, buddy?
I won Pew Pew Park's subscriber giveaway. I was chosen number one. I just need to send him my address on an email, so I need to email him so that way I can get whatever stickers, little package that he had, his subscriber giveaway thing. So I need to do that tonight.
George's address is 742 Evergreen Terrace.
Springfield?
No, actually, it's the Brownsville Nature Preserve, tree number 447.
Yeah.
Or just have it signed, or leave it at the front desk, and we'll be sure it gets taken care of.
Cool. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
And that's about it for me. Thanks you for the invite, and look forward to next show.
Yes.
Absolutely. Obnoxious, what you got going on?
See you at the range.
Oh
wait. Oh, that's it. No, that's the other guy. Never mind. That's not me.
He's going to charge you. You know that, right? You're going to get a bill.
We all know that no one's going to see you at the range. You're like the rest of us. You're hoarding what you have.
I am actually. Not much. I got a very special Show Us Your Guns coming up this week on Wednesday.
Did you say show us your buns?
That too. I'm going to show you my buns.
Okay.
Well, just remember to scrape the mold and shave them this time.
Orange. So orange.
I'll go to the same place Trump goes.
The tan in a can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Stuff if you cancer, you know.
I hope that gives me cancer. I really do. Right now, I'm wishing for the asteroid. I'm hoping the cancer takes me. It's just everything. Whatever.
You have an
Night Strike
asteroid?
wants me to not wear a mask and get run and die, so I'm going to try and do that as well.
And he's got an asteroid to go with his orange buns.
Mm-hmm. Other than that, I don't know what I'm going to film this week besides that. But thanks for having me on. It was a stimulating conversation. It was absolutely fascinating.
He said stimulating. Roll call. What's going on?
Let's say I'm full of shit.
Well, thanks for having me. It's an interesting chat, like always. So you can go check me out on YouTube if you feel the need to. I got some cool videos up on there. Like, thank Jay Monty for stopping in at my work and giving me some stuff. That really helps out.
Stuff is cool.
Yeah, so thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Giz, what you got going on, homie?
Well, let's see. Sometime probably Tuesday, I'm releasing another gun video. Yes, I do gun videos. I said
you said videos.
Yes, I did. Beat you to it. Okay, yeah, check that out and watch my stuff. Foul Territory on Fridays, Early Bird Chat on Sundays, and whenever else I can hop on, be part of someone else's show. But anyway, thanks for the invite. And remember, give them the bird.
Mm-hmm.
Bird is the word.
Mr. Mouse, what's going on with you?
Oh, nothing. Thanks for letting me sit in.
Sound thrilled.
No, I appreciate it. Maybe someday get around to doing more videos. Just been kind of lazy.
I hear you.
That's about it.
What's that link for, Ape?
I was going through the California DOJ website and trying to see if there's like a submission paperwork for the roster, and I just found the section that it comes under, and all it's really going through is that within 10 days of receipt of compliant test report, blah, 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 and one prototype handgun, as long as it's not unsafe, basically goes saying you will pay us an annual maintenance fee. If you do not pay us an annual maintenance fee, or if we determine that the model for testing were modified in any way or form that were sold after a certification was granted, or the handgun is unsafe, we will pull it from the roster. And a handgun may remain on roster after the manufacturer importer discontinues manufacturing, importing the model, or goes out of business, providing that all of the following requirements are met. Evidence is provided that manufacturer importer has either discontinued, blah, 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 or gone out of business, no longer offering the handgun model to licensed firearm dealers, is either fully there's like a dispute. So I'm not seeing anything that's saying that if you reintroduce a model, it's the same model. Well, okay, section E, A, B, C, D, E.
As long as they don't change it,
A manufacturer or manufacturer importer or other responsible party may submit a written request to list a handgun model that was voluntarily discontinued or was removed for lack of payment of the annual maintenance fee. The written request must state that no modifications have been made for the model and be submitted to the DOJ together with the annual listing fee as set forth in section blah, blah, blah of these regulations. If approved, the listing will be valid for 1 year from the date the model was added to the roster and shall be renewed as set forth section blah, blah, blah. Note authority cited, blah, 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 reference section, whatever.
Not to get in the way of your blah, blah, blahs, but wasn't the Pistol 80 not released in the United States?
Correct, and it was also modified from its original configuration on the remake. It has a different set of sights on it, has a different trigger set on it, and has a different recoil spring on it.
Yeah. I'm curious on how much the anal fees that he keeps talking about are.
I don't know. How often do you have to have your anal maintenance?
Hey, look,
Maintain the
not
fiber.
all of us can
How
use
you
much
gotta maintain
fiber
to create your
as
anal?
Moo does. Okay.
They just do you still go and just get them squeezed at the vet, or do you have the groomer do it?
No,
You
I
gotta
just
suck out the
use a
poison.
hose and a pump.
Oh,
Ain't made of money. I ain't got that kind of orange man in a can money that you have.
I
So,
ain't
yeah,
got shit for money.
Sounds like if they modified it at all, if they changed it from the original design, then I guess not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been heavily modified as compared to its original weapon, as far as modernized. I mean, and it's good changes, right? If you can have the gun, these are great changes to have been made, but
Yeah.
it's not the same gun in that respect.
I wonder why they did. Why do you think they did it? Why do you think they're
because it's a new Glock that people. Because their last Glock generated some interest, and then people got, oh, hey, they're blowing up in these videos I'm seeing online, and they're probably trying to cater to the other camp that was like, oh, it's going to be something cool. It's going to be something cool. It's a freaking 22 caliber Glock.
It was a giant crap hole. That was the word. I couldn't believe it was a 10-shot 22. Glock made a 10-shot 22.
Yeah. Oh, but the 10 shots are so much more reliable than the other. Yeah, shut up. You made something that somebody else has been making a conversion kit for all your other full-size Glocks for around a decade. This was probably like the cheapest, easiest thing you could do to try and make money, and now you're trying to go after the hardcore Glock collectors of, oh, well, it's like the original prototype or the original military issue. It's still just a Glock.
It's totally going to work. I mean, they're going to get my money. If it's under $700, they're going to get my money for it. It's just going to happen.
Now, you talking street price or MSRP there?
Street price. I already have a bid out on one right now at $650 on Gunbroker.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Glock's target demographic.
Yeah.
Well, no, but I don't fit. I have 5 of everything by just about every gun manufacturer in the world. But factually speaking, an opportunity to own something like this, I'm not going to pass on.
I mean, if it was maybe like an original one that like Gaston wiped his own essence on or whatever, no, I still wouldn't pay $700 for a Glock. I can get a very kitted out Glock for $700. I can get a much nicer gun, period, for $700.
That's too much of a Glock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's weird. I would think. I mean,
Maybe.
I don't know. They're going after people that like, oh, I wish I still had my Glock 17. But I mean, how many are out there if they're gonna be going for, like you said, $700, $750? It's an awful lot.
I'm probably going to win this one in 3 hours at about 6:30 or 6:40. Is what it looks like.
Well, I don't know, unless it's just one of those things where, like with Medic, they're just trying to target the people who are, I don't want to say dumb enough or foolhardy enough to be that first, I got to have the first gen PlayStation, or I got to have this first model of this new car kind of mentality.
Yeah, I mean, I think
within a year or so they're going to be like, oh, hey, yeah, we got like, they're going to be like on CDNN. Oh, we've got like 500 out of the 10,000 that they made, and we're going to clear them out for $500.
Well, and it's really about getting clicks. I'm trying to get my channel to 1,000, and I have a reason for that.
Have you tried wearing a halter top and booty shorts?
That would not do anything for my subscriber count. But I would like my channel at 100,000 because I'm advocating voter rights and First and Second Amendment rights in every video I make. You know what I mean? For me, it's going to the range, talking about a gun that I like, and then talking to people about, voter and First and Second Amendment rights, and really getting new people to shoot. And so as many people as I can get as possible, that's going to benefit the process. And so buying something for a little baseline extortionist price that's going to draw 100 people to my channel in a month, or 200 or 300 or 400 people over time, that's going to, further my cause. So the money's not spent because it's the P80. The money's spent because it's another opportunity to draw more people.
Once again, I'm still saying booty shorts and halter top.
If Abe wants to see it. mean,
Yeah,
No, I don't
that's
wanna
what
see
I.
it.
That's what I'm hearing.
Daisy Dukes.
Hey, don't you shame me on trying to get people to do stupid stuff on the internet.
Happy birthday.
he's
Mr.
always trying to
President.
get he's always trying to get obnoxious to let him see the orange butt cheeks hanging out of his shorts, and he never will.
No,
Then he's going to get it this Wednesday.
No.
Okay, so
I
what?
didn't say that I want to see his. I said if you're going to have them hanging out, at least get rid of the tan lines. You got to take your tighty whities off before you spray your booty. If you're going to be wearing the booty shorts.
What I really hear is that Fine Ape has a thing for guys from Tennessee. Is what I hear.
No, I have a thing for ginger waifus. That's well known and documented.
This is true.
Yes.
This is true. There is
Ample documentation. This
Just if
awkward
you wanna
silence
get
is
a-
brought to you by 2 Live Moo.
There are
Why? Because
restraining
it's not
orders,
here.
but that's documentation.
Restraining orders is documentation.
That's
Bunch
what
of
they were.
1,000 subscribers. Give
I
away
thought
a
that was
free
just the
turbo
toilet
man.
paper I got from the drunk tank.
See, it's right here. It was even signed by a judge. It's true.
Now, is that Judge Dredd or Judge Doom? Because I forget which one of those I might have pissed off.
Yeah, who knows?
Dread.
Been Mike Judge.
Urban.
Yeah, there you go.
I am the law.
I am the law.
So, Ape, you got anything? And if not, you want to take us out?
I don't know. It's kind of late. The snack shack is closed. I don't think all of you will fit in the car, though.
We'll take the Suburban.
To the bourbon.
To the bourbon. Wait, did we disinfect it after the licking rocks got taken out of there, or is it still kind of molding over?
It's probably pretty gross, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there's enough bleach available for us to get rid of it. We just got to burn it down. Burn it with atomic burrito fire. And on that visual note, ladies, gentlemen, and Jonases of all ages, thank you for watching Midnight Range TM's The Closer. This concludes our regular program, but we'll be back next week. That is both a promise and a threat. Gun Channel's Monday night programming at 5 p.m. Eastern. It's hasty headlines with never enough ammo. See how the world is slowly spinning into the utter void of oblivion and Cthulhu. With never enough ammo. At 7 p.m. Eastern, it's the Polite Society podcast on Facebook. At 8 p.m. Eastern, it's Clover Tax MOA Monday, sometimes on Instagram, sometimes on YouTube, and Hawaii Volcano Squad's Locked and Loaded. At 9 p.m. Eastern, it's Never Enough Ammo, a.k.a. Mr. Matt's Guns and Geek podcast, The Week in Geek. And every weeknight at midnight Eastern, it's the Daily Gun Show. Also, check out GunTube.org as a free and unrestricted Pro2A video platform. If you like what you see, all right, maybe not this, but some other platform that's on GunTube that's using the chamber, don't use this as your metric as to whether or not you're going to give us money or not. Go over to Patreon and help support the platform, or go over to shop on GunTube.org and buy yourself some wonderful gun lube. Or cool and unique 2A swag, go over to gearwebsites.com. That's cool 2A swag, like what's on this panel here, and I'm tripping over my own words for some reason. I don't know why. Probably because I forgot that a hot dog is a sandwich, Slim Jim is candy, and please remember to heat your desiccated, freeze-dried, powdered street fudge to an internal temperature of 125 degrees for medium rare.
Yep, don't eat the street fudge. And also, I think Budget's doing his show tomorrow, right?
I do not know.
He tried to do it
tonight.
The other day. No, he tried to do it the other day, and he had all sorts of technical difficulties. And then he screamed, and the show stopped. So I think it's tomorrow that he's going to try and do it. So check that out, or look at his channel and see if it's listed. You know what I mean? He had all sorts of trouble the other day, and
go subscribe. Make sure you click the little notification bell so you're notified. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, Budget's got a great channel, so he does a really good job. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. We still got, as of starting to shut down, we still have like 21 people watching, which is awesome. So appreciate you guys all stopping in.
You utter fools. You fools.
Join us next week where we come live from a salon and we've been set up.
We have been set up. Yeah.
Now,
They
way
set
to
me
go.
up.
Way to let the cat out of the bag. How's it going to be a setup if you're letting them know that they're being set up?
Oh, crap. We're not going to come. We're not going to be.
No. We will not be coming live to you from a salon. We will be coming live to you from a styling parlor.
There you go.
Then we 100% did not get set up.
No.
Probably.
Even though there was a fee for setting it up.
Definitely, maybe didn't. So until then, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy. Bye.
Please refrain from urinating in the cryogenic food storage unit.
Yeah, don't do
Shut
that
up,
either.
you in fridge.